Beginning with a gentle golden wind and light rain, the master of ceremonies, with a single stroke, surprises the world. This video is purely for entertainment, and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting, and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 126 Shangwenzu's plot, Zishan Mine, Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower. I wonder what the Lord of the Bay Tower has considered. Shangwenzu looked at Beichaofei and said, the last time he visited Beichaofei, he proposed to buy the Zishan Mine. At that time, Beichaofei did not refuse, but just said that he would consider it. He waited for a few days without hearing from Beichaofei, so he came again. Master Shangwen, doesn't your Zuki sect have its own iron mine? Why do you want the Zishan mine that my Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower just got? Beichaofei said, the quality of our Zuki sect's iron ore has declined in recent years. We have been cooperating with the Qin family before. To be honest, we have received part of the order from the Great Zhao Dynasty's armament department and need a large amount of iron ore, so we thought about buying the Zishan mine directly. Shangwenzu said. Hearing this, Beichaofei's eyes condensed. He didn't expect Shangwenzu to be able to get the order from the Great Zhao Dynasty's armament department. This Zuki sect is deeper than he imagined. In terms of price, we will not let Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower suffer a loss. Shangwenzu said. Now the Zishan mine has been taken over by the Jinfeng Xiao building. If the Jinfeng Xiao building starts to replace the personnel in the mine on a large scale, then the gold mine will be discovered. At that time, the loss will be huge for them. Recently, we, Jinfeng Xiao building, are collecting some newly acquired industries that have not yet been integrated. Once the integration is completed, I will notify the Shangwen sect master as soon as possible. Beichaofei said. He has not yet checked the several industries he has collected. He needs to wait until the check before he can sell them. And although Shangwenzu said there is no problem, but he always feels that there is something strange about this matter, then I will wait a little longer. Shangwenzu nodded. But the Bay building master has to be faster. The ordnance department is urging us a little anxiously. We need a lot of iron ore. Beichaofei nodded. After chatting with Shangwenzu for a few words, he sent Shangwenzu away. It seems that we still need to check the situation of the Zishan mine. Beichaofei thought to himself. Actually, Beichaofei was planning to sell the West Mountain mine to Shangwenzu. After all, the Jinfeng Xiao Tower in Lingnan County had not formed a stable source of income. So he thought about selling the West Mountain mine to relieve the pressure in the early stage. However, Chen looted the treasury of the branch hall of Changhan Palace, and all the gold, silver and jewelry in the treasury were transferred to the Jinfeng Xiao Tower by Chen. With the support of funds, Beichaofei forgot about the West Mountain mine. But he didn't expect Shangwenzu to come again. So anxious. They were not anxious when the Qin family was there, but they were anxious after the Jinfeng Xiao Tower took over. How could he not care? Is there something wrong with the mine? But the people who were sent to investigate before didn't find any problems with the West Mountain mine. Beichaofei frowned. Please ask Nalan Rangan to come over. Beichaofei shouted to the disciple outside the door. The disciple quickly took the order. After a while, Nalan Rangan stepped into the room. Do you know about the Qin family's West Mountain mine? Beichaofei asked. Hearing Beichaofei asking about the Zishan mine, Nalan Rangan shook her head and said, I don't know much about the Zishan mine. I just know that the Zishan mine has been mined for more than 10 years. The quality of iron is very high. Sometimes it is supplied to the armament department of the Great Zhao Dynasty. The armament department has a special status in the Great Zhao Dynasty, so I didn't dare to check it. Nalan Rangan said. Find someone to investigate the Zishan mine. Shangwenzu came to me last time and wanted to buy the Zishan mine from us. I didn't pay attention to this matter these days, but he came again today. I always feel that the Zishan mine may be a little different, Beichaofei said. Shangwenzu wants the Zishan mine. Doesn't he have his own mine? Why would he want our Zishan mine? Nalan Rangan asked. He said that the quality of iron produced by their Zukiman mine is somewhat poor and cannot meet their needs. He said that they recently received some orders from the armament department, so they are thinking of buying our Zishan mine. Orders from the armament department. I didn't expect Shangwenzu to have some relationship with the armament department. If so, they might pay a high price to us. But the iron ore in the Zishan mine of the building owner is rich in quality. If the Jinfeng Xiao building develops in the future, it may need iron ore. It is best not to sell it. Nalan Rangan said. I will consider this. You go to investigate first. Bei Chaofei ordered. Nalan Rangan nodded and left the room. Not long after Nalan Rangan left, Leng Hushan's figure appeared outside the door. Mr. Leng, how is the investigation going? Bei Chaofei led Leng Hushan into the depths of the house and asked softly. The man in black has contacted Zihanayu of the Hanayu sect, and Zihanayu went to the residence of Yanyu of the Northern Pacification Division. It should be that Yanyu wants to deal with Helian Chunshu. Leng Hushan said. I understand that Yanyu wants Helian Chunshu dead, but how can Zihanayu be related to Yanyu? Bei Chaofei was puzzled. When in Qingcheng, Yanshu of the Yan family was planning to lure out Zihanayu. If the two knew each other, why would Yanshu deal with Zihanayu? Maybe Yanyu's target is the Dharma King of Hanayu sect. I looked at the files of Qingcheng. At that time, the Dharma King of Hanayu sect went to Qingcheng. Leng Hushan said on the side. Recently, when he was practicing, he also read some information and intelligence to understand this world. He had read the files of Qingcheng, so he said this. When Leng Hushan said this, Bei Chaofei seemed to think of something. He somewhat agreed with Leng Hushan's words. No matter who they are, the master has accepted this mission. The master is going to set up a killer organization, Qinglang Society. If Helian Chunshu is killed, Qinglang Society will definitely become famous in the world, Bei Chaofei said. While speaking, a figure leaped into the room from outside the pavilion. It was Zhao Qiushu. The master has sent 2 masters to expand the Qinglang Society. I have been appointed as the head of the Qinglang Society, Zengaiu Hall. If the black-robed man comes, you can let him go to the abandoned manor outside the city, Zhao Qiushu said. Okay, if the black-robed man comes again, I will give them the address, Bei Chaofei said. Brother Leng, let's go play a game of chess. Zhao Qiushu looked at Leng Hushan and said. Let's go. Leng Hushan nodded and followed Zhao Qiushu away. Suddenly, only Bei Chaofei was left in the room. On the other side, Shangwenzu, who left the golden wind and drizzle, came to the outside of the house and pushed the door directly into it. He walked through the courtyard and came to the living room. In the living room, a black-robed man saw Shangwenzu coming in. It seems that they are still unwilling to sell the Zishan mine? The black-robed man asked in a deep voice. Second brother, Bei Chaofei didn't respond directly. I guess he will go to Zishan mine to investigate. Brother, have you arranged everything? Shangwenzu said. It has been arranged. They can't find the gold mine. After they investigate, we will make an offer. I believe he will give up the Zishan mine. The man in black robe said. Chapter 127. Qinglang Society, Xingaitang, Branch. Bei Chaofei was puzzled. Shangwenzu and the black-robed man had thought of this, and they also intended to let Bei Chaofei investigate. Only after the investigation, they would find that the price they offered was absolutely reasonable. Let's wait for the matter of Zishan mine for now. The clues of Golden Plum Bottle have been spread. When will the forces of Lingnan County prepare to attack Lingaiu Sword Sect? The black-robed man asked. No information has been received yet. Shangwenzu shook his head. Pay close attention. It is estimated that once Helian Chunshu of the Northern Pacification Division arrives, the forces of Lingnan County will probably attack Lingaiu Sword Sect. The black-robed man said. Helian Chunshu, the son of Zenon Marquis, will he handle the affairs of Lingaiu Sword Sect? Shangwenzu frowned slightly. Don't underestimate this Helian Chunshu. I don't think you are his opponent. The black-robed man looked at Shangwenzu and said. Hearing this, Shangwenzu's eyes condensed. He would not doubt what the black-robed man said. Because the business of the weapons department of the Blood Flag sect was actually obtained by the black-robed man from Zenon Marquis. Suheo returned to Shiangsu Villa. He reported the information he had found to Miran Qingchen. Chen read the information reported by Chen, put it aside, and said, "Do you know that Enikun, the Golden Hand, was killed last night by someone with a single sword?" "I really don't know this. After I got the news from Changhan Palace, I immediately returned to Xiangsu Villa. It is estimated that the news leaked out and the other party killed him to silence him." Chen said calmly, "Maybe so. There has been some chaos in Lingnan County recently. You'd better practice in Shangate and don't go down the mountain." Chen said, "Thank you for your reminder, Chief. I will pay attention here. If there is nothing else, I will take my leave first." Chen thanked him. "You go first." Chen nodded. After Chen left, Wei came to Chen. "Can the person behind Enikun, the Golden Hand, be found?" "It's very difficult. There is no clue at all." Wei shook her head. "Is that so? Then we can only wait for the Changhan Palace to send someone." "Who will Changhan Palace send this time?" Chen asked. "Meng Shentong, one of the two elders in the back hall of Changhan Palace." Wei said. "They actually sent him out? It seems that he is here for the golden plum bottle. When Meng Shentong arrives at Changhan Palace, ask him to meet." Chen said. From Chen's words, we can know that the person coming is not simple. Chen took this opportunity to practice well in the mountain and river gate for a while. By the way, he began to look through the things he got from the branch hall of Changhan Palace. He gave the gold, silver and jewelry to Bai Fei, but he didn't have the secret manual and other cultivation elixirs and treasures. He had to study it carefully to see if he could get a few lottery cards. When Chen was investigating the treasures of Changhan Palace, Lingnan County Mansion and a dim courtyard, the body of Enikun, the heavenly gold hand, was placed on the ground. In front of the body, two figures were standing, wearing black cloaks. The man showed his face. He was Zaishian, the right governor of Lingnan County. "If I had killed Liu Wumei, I would have died this time. I have to thank you." Looking at Enikun's body, another person spoke. "It was the woman who wanted to kill Liu Wumei before. It's not to thank me. You are more important than him, so you let him kill Liu Wumei." Zaishian said in a deep voice. "Who killed Enikun?" "Someone from Changhan Palace. But even if someone from Changhan Palace came from the main hall, he hasn't arrived yet?" the woman asked. "There is a special envoy from Changhan Palace, and it's a royal envoy. That person should have been in Lingnan County for many years." Zaishian informed the woman of the news. "What? Someone from the royal family is in Lingnan County? If it was a royal child who arranged someone to take action, he would have the strength to kill Xianjin Shao Enikun with one sword." The woman's voice was surprised and gloomy. "Now that Xianjin Shao is dead, what should we do next? Does the master have any arrangements?" The woman said calmly. "The master has no other arrangements. Just let us pay attention to Lingyu Sword Sect." Lingyu Sword Sect, I don't know what they are thinking. They actually use the news of Golden Plum Bottle to make a deal with caging. "What do you think is the difference between this and seeking death?" The woman said coldly. "It's normal to make a deal with caging, but it's a bit strange that this news was leaked. But this matter is a bit involved. For safety, we should just investigate and pay attention." Zaishian said in a deep voice. "It seems that you should know something." The woman looked at Zaishian and said, "I don't know anything. By the way, Xianjin Shao is dead, but I'm afraid he left something behind. You go and deal with it. Don't leave any traces of us." Zaishian ordered. "They have already killed one person. Do they have to continue investigating?" the woman asked in confusion. "No, it's mainly because the person sent by Changhan Palace this time is Meng Shentong, one of the two elders in the back hall. You should know this person, so I won't say much." Zaishian said, and turned to leave the dim house. The woman in the cloak leaned over and checked the situation on Enikun. Then she took out a jade bottle and a dagger from her bosom and directly bled Enikun. Soon, the jade bottle was filled by her. Looking at the jade bottle in her hand, the woman said in a deep voice, "I hope to extract the poison from your blood. Let me analyze it and refine an antidote." The woman turned around and left after she finished speaking. All of them were controlled by toxins and had no choice. In another place, Zihaniu, who was dressed in a black robe, followed the black-robed man who had entered the Jinfeng Tower earlier and came to the outside of an abandoned house. The people from the Qinglang Society that Bei Chaofei mentioned are here? Zihan Yu said. Yes, right here. The black-robed man nodded and went inside. In the abandoned courtyard, a young man in a grey robe was sitting there holding a sword, motionless. It was Afei. When the two stepped in, the man holding the sword opened his eyes. Zihan Yu and others who came in also saw Afei. The moment they saw Afei, they immediately felt a sharp sword energy coming towards them. This sword energy carried a strong death intention. Token. Afei looked at the two and said coldly. A black token appeared in the hand of the black man, and a green dragon was engraved on the token. This was a token that Bei Chaofei thought of. Who do you want to kill? Afei said. The Jinfeng Tower should have told you that we want Alien Chunshu's life. The black-robed man looked at Afei and said, pay half of the deposit first, and I will help you get rid of Alien Chunshu within a month. Afei said, this is half of the deposit, the gold bills of the black market Zhengtang Bank, you can take it at any time. When the black-robed man spoke, 5 gold and silver bills appeared in his hand. Afei raised his hand and sucked the 5 gold bills into his hand. The third branch of the Xing'ai of the Qinglang Society will complete your mission on time, and you can leave now. Afei said in a deep voice. Chapter 128, Qinglang Society, Expansion, Kill those who disobey. Outside Lingnan County, in a small cave palace, a beautiful woman in a red dress was sitting on the main chair in the palace. The beautiful woman had peach-like eyes, but she didn't exude a charming aura, but a cold one. This beautiful woman in a red dress was Mu Hongxiang, the leader of the 8th ranked Frostleaf organization in Lingnan County. Although she looked very beautiful, she was ruthless. Otherwise, the Frostleaf organization would not have become the 8th ranked killer organization in Lingnan County. Suddenly, Mu Hongxiang, who was sitting on the leader's chair, had a slightly condensed look in her eyes. She smelled a bloody smell. She stood up subconsciously, but at this time the door of the palace was opened. A man walked in from outside the palace. Mu Hongxiang was nervous when she saw this man and observed him. The other party was very tall, wearing a grey shirt with very short corners that could only cover the knees. The cuffs were tightly tied, and his fingers were thin and long, protruding from the bones, which made him look very powerful. There were 3 scars on his face, but he didn't look hideous. There was a sword on the right side of the belt, with the hilt facing left. It could be seen that the other party was a sword expert. But what made Mu Hongxiang afraid was the man's eyes. They were very scary, grey, without emotional life. This was a killer. This was her first impression. If she wasn't careful, she might die under his sword. You are Mu Hongxiang, the leader of the Frostleaf organization. The man looked at Mu Hongxiang and said, his voice was cold and without any emotion. This made Mu Hongxiang feel uneasy. Suppressing the panic in her heart, Mu Hongxiang said, I'm Mu Hongxiang, the leader of the Frostleaf organization. Today, the Frostleaf organization surrenders to the Qinglang Society and becomes a member of the Qinglang Society, Xing'ai, the first branch. Do you have any objection? The man looked at Mu Hongxiang with grey eyes and said, the one who came here was Jing Wuming, who was summoned together with Afei. If the Qinglang Society wants to develop, it must have members. There are many killer organizations in Lingnan County. The top 3 are famous killer organizations in the Great Zhao Dynasty, and below the 4th place are local forces in Lingnan County. The assassin organizations are very secretive. But after Tan's Hall joined the Golden Wind and Rain Tower, they knew the locations of some assassin organizations. So the idea of the Green Dragon Society is to gather some assassin groups and make them members of the branch. Hearing Jing Wuming's words, Mu Hongxiang's mind paused. This is to take over her Frostleaf organization. She was unwilling in her heart, but seeing the other party's dead grey eyes, she felt that, as long as she said no, the other party might kill her with a sword. Who are you? Dare to take over my Frostleaf organization? Go to hell. At this time, a voice sounded outside the hall in the dark. Before the voice fell, a black shadow rushed in from outside the hall, and as soon as he stepped on the ground, he raised his palm and quickly attacked Jing Wuming's back. The palm was extremely fast, and it also carried a disgusting black breath. The practice was poisonous. Swish. But when the palm was about to be printed on Jing Wuming's back, Jing Wuming's figure suddenly turned, and only a grey light flashed. The man who attacked suddenly stopped, and the palm of his hand that attacked could not help but return and touch his throat. At this time, blood slowly flowed out of his throat. A deep hole appeared. Plop. His body fell directly to the ground, and blood flowed out of the wound on his throat. You want to be like him? Jing Wuming looked at Mu Hongxiang and said, I'm willing to submit to the Qinglang Society. Mu Hongxiang immediately got down from the main chair and saluted Jing Wuming. This is my Qinglang Society token, and you belong to the second branch of Zhenghai Hall. You can call me the helmsman. Jing Wuming threw a prepared token to Mu Hongxiang. Mu Hongxiang took the token and immediately saluted and said, I see the helmsman. But there was indeed a storm in her heart. Such a strong person was only the helmsman. She really wanted to ask how many branches the Qinglang Society had, but she didn't dare. 3 days later, we will meet at the meteorite valley outside the city. After saying this, Jing Wuming turned and left. He didn't care much about whether these people were sincere in their surrender or not. If they betrayed, he would just kill them and find someone to replace them. The world lacks everything except people. If you want to die, then die, and then find someone to replace you. Inside the hall, Mu Hongxiang was stunned when she saw Jing Wuming leaving. She was just wondering what means the other party would use to control him. Unexpectedly, he turned around and left without using any means to control her. If you don't control me, it means that I'm dispensable. As long as there is any unusual movement, I will be killed. Qinglang Society, what kind of force is this? Mu Hongxiang thought in her heart. She was looking forward to the meeting in 3 days. Jing Wuming came out of the cave, looked at the information in his hand, and went in another direction. Bei Chaofu Jinfeng Xiao Tower gave them the choice of 18 killer organizations that can be moved now. He and A Fei need to subdue all the 18 killer organizations within 3 days. To deal with these killer organizations, it is very simple. Just one word: kill. Kill until the other party is convinced. Hefengtang is in Hefengtang, one of the 3 major intelligence organizations in Lingnan County. An old man looked at the information in his hand with narrowed eyes. He got the information that Jing Wuming was collecting some killer organizations. The old man is the head of Hefengtang, Liu Shan. What kind of force is this Qinglang Hu? Have you investigated it? Opposite him is a young man in golden clothes. The young man has a slender figure, but his face looks too gloomy. This person is the adopted son of Hefengtang, named Liu Feng. There is no news about the Qinglang Hu. It seems like the first time it has appeared. Liu Feng said in a deep voice. Lingnan County seems a bit chaotic at this time, with various forces emerging one after another, but there is nothing to worry about. So far, we know that they have conquered several killer organizations. We know that the other party has only conquered 2. Liu Feng said. Some leaders of killer organizations were directly subdued, and some leaders of killer organizations were beheaded. The new people did not handle it in time. Some of the former leaders' people sent the information out. Of course, this also indirectly made the Qinglang Society famous. By the way, what's going on over at Jinfeng Xiao Tower? Liu Shan asked. The former head of Tian's Hall was killed by Hefeng Hall, and now Tian's Hall has joined Jinfeng Xiao Tower. Nalan Rangan would not join Jinfeng Xiao Tower for no reason. Jinfeng Xiao Tower should have agreed to her conditions, so Tian's Hall was merged into Jinfeng Xiao Tower. This made Hefeng Hall, as an enemy, have to be wary of Jinfeng Xiao Tower. Always pay attention. They have been taking over the Qin and Yang family businesses recently. By the way, there is also Shangwenzu of Zukiman who entered Jinfeng Xiao Tower twice. It seems that Shangwenzu has reconciled with Jinfeng Xiao Tower. Liu Feng said. I asked you to contact someone from Beixiaodao. Have you contacted him? Liu Shan asked. I have contacted the head of Beixiaodao, Ren, and I can arrange for my godfather to meet him at any time. Then help me make an appointment with the head of Ren tomorrow. Liu Shan said. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. we cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 129, Shan Deputy Sect Leader, Disciple. Tian's Hall surrendered to Jinfeng Xiao Tower, and they and Feng Tang also need to find a backer. Otherwise, when Jinfeng Xiao Tower has dealt with the Qin family and the Yang family, they may take action against them. Beizhao Dao is one of the 5 most famous intelligence organizations in the Great Zhao dynasty. With Beizhao Dao, they don't have to be afraid of Jinfeng Xiao Tower. Inside the Shan Gate, Su Chen is practicing, and the Qijin follows the route of the immovable demon god art, flowing through the meridians, blood, flesh, tendons, and bones in his body to temper his body. The golden spirit bead he got earlier emitted a little bit of golden aura that flowed into his body and cooperated with the immovable demon god art to temper his body. In the Danshan, Shan Zhen Wujin is swallowing the Qijin of Shangong and growing rapidly, but it is still at the first level. This Shan Zhen Wujin requires too much Shangong's internal strength to improve. The internal strength pills he swallowed were consumed in a blink of an eye. Of course, Su Chen, who has already stepped into the first level of Shan Zhen Wujin, is probably several times more powerful than those who practice Shangong in terms of Qijin. With his current strength, he is considered a rising star in the Shan sect. Of course, this will only count if he is exposed. This Shan Zhen Wujin should be placed there by Mirren Qingchen on purpose, and now I have stepped into the first level. I should tell Mirren Qingchen this news, to see what arrangements he has. Su Chen thought to himself. After a while, Su Chen finished his training and stepped out of the courtyard. Su Chen didn't need to ask about the affairs of Jinfeng Xiao Tower and Qinglang Society. Those he summoned were all powerful people who were more experienced than Su Chen, so he didn't need to ask about them. I wonder what Mirren Qingchen will give me if I raise the Shan Zhen Wujin to the first level? What Su Chen wants to improve now is his status in Shan sect. In this way, if he contacts more, he can get more lottery cards. After all, the number of tasks appears too few. It also depends on triggering rewards. Of course, the business of Jinfeng Xiao Tower is also developing. Buying intelligence sometimes requires not only money, but also treasures as collateral, etc. There is also the Qinglang Society assassin organization. By then, the 2 major forces will definitely have a lot of treasures. It will definitely allow him to continue to trigger something. Of course, the situation would not be as optimistic as he imagined. Su Chen searched through the treasures of Changhan Palace, and finally only got him 13 white lottery cards, and 1 blue lottery card. The Lingnan County branch of Changhan Palace has been in Changhan Palace for many years. Such a force has only brought him so much, so it can be seen that obtaining lottery cards in this way is only one of the ways. Of course, many strange treasures must have been handed over to the Lingnan County Changhan Palace branch. Unknowingly, Su Chen had arrived at Xiangsu Villa. Qi Yuling looked at Su Chen. Haven't you been practicing in the house? How come you have time to come out? Sister Linger, didn't I practice a fragment of a technique in the armory last time? I broke through to the first level. I want to ask you about this technique. After all, I only have the first 3 levels here. If there is no subsequent technique, I don't think I need to continue practicing. That's the technique that the young lady gave you. You can find the young lady. In fact, we already knew that you had practiced it. I thought you were going to hide it for a while. I didn't expect you to say it now. Qi Yulinger looked at Su Chen and said, but you are really amazing. You completed the mountain and river true martial power on the same day you got it. When Sister Kwei came back, she was still surprised. Let's go see the young lady. Qi Yulinger took Su Chen to the backyard. Su Chen's heart moved. At that time, he did not hide the true martial arts mountain and river power when he practiced it. It is estimated that Kwei was outside to investigate at that time. This time, he entered the backyard and was taken to a balcony. Mirren Qingchen was in the pavilion. Miss, Su Chen has cultivated the first level of Shan Zhen Wujin, while he has only cultivated the first 3 levels, so I want to ask about the latter levels. Qi Yulinger said. King Chen looked at Su Chen and said, "You are very talented in cultivating Shanzhen Wujin. I'm going to take you to see my master. Let my master accept you as a disciple." Hearing this, Su Chen was stunned and showed a look of surprise on his face. He did not expect that King Chen would actually recommend him to her master. King Chen's master was Mu Xianan, the master of Xianluo Peak, and one of the 3 deputy masters of Shanmen. If he could become Mu Xianan's disciple, he would be the direct disciple of the deputy master, and if he became the direct disciple of the deputy master Qin Xuan, he would directly become a true disciple of Shanmen. He would be qualified to seize the position of the master of Shanmen. This is a step to heaven. "Thank you very much, master." Su Chen thanked. "You don't have to thank me. If you can't practice Shanzhen Wujin, then my master won't accept you. Let's go. Come with me to see the master," King Chen said. King Chen stood up and took Su Chen out of Xiangsu Villa and headed towards the main hall of Xianluo Peak. Along the way, some people were surprised to see Su Chen and King Chen. King Chen rarely left Xiangsu Villa. As for Su Chen, few people knew him. How could he walk with Elder Miring? Who is that person? I don't know. He doesn't look like Elder Miring's follower. His waist badge is a disciple of Xiangsu Villa. How could he walk with Elder Miring? Some people saw the waist badge on Su Chen's waist. They recognized Su Chen as a disciple of Xiangsu Villa. Where are they going? It seems to be the main hall of the peak. Did something happen? Some people said. King Chen took the disciples of Xiangsu Villa to the main hall of Xianluo Peak. Something must have happened. Inside the main hall of the peak, a man in brocade clothes was talking to Kan Mu, the young master of Shan sect. This man in brocade clothes was Mu Xianan, the deputy master of Xianluo Peak in Shan sect. Seeing King Chen coming in, Kan Mu smiled. But when he saw Su Chen, his brows slightly frowned. He didn't understand why King Chen brought Su Chen here. "Hello, master and young master." King Chen saluted the two. Su Chen, who followed behind her, also saluted immediately. "Master, this is Su Chen. He has completed the first level of Shanzhen Wujin." King Chen saluted to Mu Xianan and Kan Mu and said. Mu Xianan's face did not change. King Chen had told him before. Kan Mu's face showed surprise. "Let me see how your Shanzhen Wujin is. Hit me with Shanzhen Wujin." Mu Xianan looked at Su Chen and said. Su Chen stepped forward. The mountain river true martial energy in his body circulated rapidly, and a low roar of a black tortoise emerged from Su Chen's body. Boom. Then Su Chen punched out. The huge ki energy attacked Mu Xianan like a tide. If Su Chen wanted to get more, there was no need to hide it. He used all his strength to operate the mountain river true martial energy. After so many days, his mountain river true martial energy has improved a lot. Mu Xianan saw Su Chen's ki energy burst out, and his face showed joy. He knew that Su Chen had only practiced the mountain river true martial energy for a short time. The ki energy in his body circulated, forming a shield. Bang! Su Chen's ki energy collided with the shield, and the Mu Xian ki shield felt like it collapsed. Chapter 130 Zhu Yaya an experience card, phantom card. Not far away, the young master Kan Mu showed a hint of surprise in his eyes. He didn't expect that Su Chen's ki could actually collapse Mu Xianan's ki shield. Although Mu Xianan didn't burst out with all his strength, it can be seen that Su Chen's Shanzhen Wu ki is strong. Su Chen retracted his ki and didn't continue to attack. Mu Xianan was just testing his Shanzhen Wu ki. The first layer is very stable and the ki is very strong. No wonder King Chen is very optimistic about you. Today you will become my 5th disciple Mu Xianan. I will arrange someone to inform all the disciples of the sect about this matter later. Mu Xianan smiled. Hearing this, Su Chen immediately stepped forward. Thank you, master. He came here to become Mu Xianan's disciple. Congratulations to the host for becoming the disciple of the Xianluo Peak Master of Shan sect, and rewarded with 1 blow lottery card. At this time, Su Chen received a reward of 1 blow lottery card. Congratulations, master. Congratulations to junior brother Su Chen. King Chen stepped forward to congratulate. Seeing this, the young master of Shan sect, Kan Mu, also stepped forward to congratulate. At this time, a figure walked in from outside. The man was dressed in tight clothes. When he saw Mu Xiaonan and Kan Mu, he immediately saluted and said, "Deputy Sect Master, young master, the Sect Master is anxious to ask you to go to the main hall to discuss something." Discuss something in the main hall. Mu Xiaonan frowned slightly. "Su Chen, I will make arrangements here. You can go to the main peak to choose an independent cave or courtyard. As for martial arts, let King Chen teach you first." Mu Xiaonan said to Su Chen, "I will obey the master's order." Su Chen didn't care much about Mu Xiaonan's teaching. He cared about his current identity, Mu Xiaonan's fifth disciple. With this identity, he can freely enter the Shan sect library. However, if it was just an ordinary gathering, Mu Xiaonan should have time to come back to teach him, but now he asked Mirren King Chen to teach him. It seems that the gathering of the high-level people of Shan sect should be important. Junior brother, master should have something important to say. If you have any questions about cultivation, you can ask me directly. Mirren King Chen said after Mu Xiaonan left. "I have very few cultivation techniques now, so I don't have any doubts for the time being." "Senior sister, I heard that master has 3 unique skills. When can I learn them?" Su Chen asked. The deputy master of Shan sect, Mu Xiaonan, has 3 famous unique skills: the heart-breaking flame palm, the wind-chasing sky thunder slash, and the sky phantom god wandering step. These are the 3 martial arts of Mu Xiaonan in the outside world. Of course, Su Chen wanted to see if these 3 martial arts books could trigger some rewards. When master is done with his work, he will naturally teach you. Mirren King Chen said. "Senior sister Mirren, master just said that I'm the 5th disciple. What about the 4 disciples in front of me? I'm your 3rd sister. Above me are 2 senior brothers and a junior sister. The 4th sister and the 2 senior brothers are all busy at Shan Gate. You will see them when they come back. Uncle King, please help arrange the cave or courtyard for the little junior brother." Mirren King Chen shouted to the outside of the hall. At this time, a middle-aged man in green clothes walked in. He saluted Su Chen and Mirren King Chen. "This is Uncle King who usually helps master manage Xianluo Peak. If you have anything, you can talk to Uncle King directly." Mirren King Chen said to Su Chen. "Hello, Uncle King." Su Chen saluted him. "Master Su Chen, you are too polite. I will show you the cave and courtyard first," Uncle King said. Su Chen followed Uncle King and left the hall. In the hall, only Mirren King Chen was left. "Su Chen, I have fought for the opportunity for you. I hope you can help me in the future," Mirren King Chen said softly. Su Chen is talented, and Mirren King Chen values Su Chen's talent and wants to make a good relationship with him. After walking around with Uncle King, he learned about the situation of Xianluo Peak and chose an independent cave. The cave is suitable for hard training, and it is also suitable for Su Chen to leave Shanmen and go down the mountain. After choosing the cave, Uncle King took Su Chen to the main peak of Shanmen to receive the clothes and quota of the true disciple. Then Su Chen returned to the cave by himself. Sitting on the stone pier of the cave, everything went very smoothly today. And when he became a true disciple, he also triggered a blue lottery card. He now has 13 white lottery cards and 3 blue lottery cards. Directly exchange 10 white lottery cards for 1 blue lottery card. It suddenly becomes 4 blue lottery cards. Su Chen has never been so rich. Draw out the 3 white lottery cards first. Get 10 bottles of key and blood pills. Get 1 silver note of 10,000 teals. And get 10 bottles of Zenwuki Jindan. They are all item rewards. There are 4 blue lottery cards left. Also drawn. Obtained 10 years of Shangongqi. Obtained 1 Zuyaran experience card. Obtained 2 primary enhancement cards. And obtained 1 Shapa shifting phantom card. 1 experience card. Su Chen checked immediately. Zuyaran's strength is similar to Liu Shengyijian. Both of them are close to the unity of soul and spirit. As for the Shapa shifting phantom card, when used, the body turns into a shadow and escapes away. It is a treasure for escaping. I didn't draw a character, which is a bit of a loss. Su Chen sighed that he didn't draw a character. Then he calmed down his mood, took out the elixir, and began to practice. In an independent cave, practicing anything will not be noticed by others. It is very hidden. As for the 10 years of Shangongqi, Su Chen also used it directly. With the improvement of Shanqi, his strength also skyrocketed. At Lingnan County, The atmosphere became tense. Yan Yu's figure came to the place where Zihan Yu lived again. Now someone in Lingnan Prefecture is annexing the assassin organizations. The Qinglang Society, he mentioned, should be the Qinglang Society introduced by Jinfeng Xiaolao last time. Yan Yu looked at Zihan Yu and said, "It should be, but the person I saw was not the one who showed up." Zihan Yu said in a deep voice, "Not the one who showed up." Hearing this, Yan Yu's pupils suddenly shrank. The person who subdued these assassin organizations is called Jing Wuming. He is good at swordsmanship. His left-hand sword is very fast. No one can dodge his sword for the time being. He claims to be the leader of the branch of the Zengaiu Hall of the Qinglang Society. I don't know how many branches they have. Yan Yu asked. I really don't know about this. The person I met last time was also a master of swordsmanship. The sword energy on his body made me tremble. He claimed to be the third branch of the Zengaiu Hall of the Qinglang Society. Zihan Yu said. In fact, she also knew about the recent events in Lingnan County. The expansion method of this Qinglang Society was beyond her expectation. First it was Jinfeng Xiaolao Tower, and now it's Qinglang Society, plus the Lingaiu Sword School of Jinmiping. I feel that Lingnan County is going to be in chaos. Yan Yu said in a deep voice. Chaos brings opportunities. By the way, as for Helian Chunshu, I got news that he will soon arrive in Lingnan County. The strength shown by Qinglang Society should be able to kill Helian Chunshu. You must be prepared. Zihan Yu said. Chapter 131 Du Guwuda's Ambition, Ghost Realm, 10th level. I have made arrangements here, but I don't want the people from the Qinglang Society to attack Helian Chunshu and Lingnan County. I hope they will attack Helian Chunshu outside Lingnan County. That's why I came to you. Yan Yu said. Outside Lingnan County? Zihan Yu frowned slightly when she heard this. If they attack outside Lingnan County, Yan Yu could shirk some of the responsibility. Could it be that Yan Yu has contacted someone in the capital? She was moved, but she still agreed and nodded. Okay, I will arrange this matter. By the way, you will help me pay the remaining reward for Helian Chunshu. Yan Yu looked at Zihan Yu and said. Commander Yan, so much gold, you let me pay. Zihan Yu's beautiful eyes suddenly darkened. If it weren't for Yuhan Yu sect wanting to find someone to replace me, how could so many things happen? This is the price you should pay. Yan Yu said calmly. It seems that Commander Yan has recently established contact with the capital and wants to send the remaining gold to the capital. Aren't you afraid that I will cancel the pursuit of Helian Chunshu? Zihan Yu looked at Yan Yu and said. Miss Han Yu sees it clearly. I will indeed send the gold to the capital. Although Helian Chunshu came here to check the golden plum bottle, if I reveal some information about the Han Yu sect, I think he will be more interested in you. You don't want to be targeted, do you? Yan Yu said in a calm voice. Are you threatening me? Zihan Yu looked at Yan Yu and said. It's not a threat. Killing Helian Chunshu is good for you and for me. Half for each of us is normal. Also, I found some information about the golden plum bottle. This matter may be related to the governor of Lingnan County. Yan Yu said in a deep voice. You said that the matter of the golden plum bottle is related to the governor? Zihan Yu said with a startled look. It's just a guess. There's no evidence. You can ask someone to investigate. Maybe there will be some results. Why don't you investigate it yourself? Zihan Yu asked with some doubts. Although Arby's Henfu division is independent, the county governor is a frontier official. Once an investigation is carried out, it will definitely be discovered. I don't want to offend the county governor. Yan Yu said, and turned to leave. After Yan Yu left, in the house, a white-haired old woman came out. The old woman's skin was dry, and she looked old and frail. Her eyes were slightly open, without any luster. She glanced at the direction where Yan Yu left and said, Saint, this Yan Yu can't be kept. It's best to get rid of him. Otherwise, some things will be overturned, which is very disadvantageous to you. The old woman's voice was low. Hearing the old woman's words, Zihan Yu pondered, but Long Po, don't we have anyone who can kill Yan Yu? This old slave can kill this Yan Yu. The old slave said. The tone was flat, but from the tone, it can be known that the old woman did not take Yan Yu seriously. You can't do anything here. Once you do, your whereabouts in Lingnan County will be spread, and it will be even more troublesome. Zihanayu shook her head. Then we can only ask someone to do it. The saint mentioned earlier that the Qinglang Society might be able to do it. The old woman said. The Qinglang Society charges too much. I will have no money left after paying half of the reward for killing Helian Chunshu. Zihanayu said. Saint, the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower is collecting information recently. We may be able to raise enough money if we sell some information to them. The old woman said. We can do this when the time comes. The frown on Zihanayu's face disappeared instantly. The Hanayu sect has a lot of secrets, so it's okay to sell some information to the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower. This matter, the old woman will go to sell it personally, and by the way, find out the details of the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower. The old woman then said. Then I'll trouble you, long po. Zihanayu bowed and thanked. This is what the old woman should do. After saying that, the old woman also turned and left. Another place. King Cheng, Jinfengxiayu Tower. Now King Cheng is absolutely the overlord level strength, controlling all business. Bei Xianayu and Dugu Wudi are sitting in the pavilion, drinking tea and looking at the street outside. At this time, Dugu Wudi's breath has been completely restored. Congratulations to Mr. Dugu for his further improvement in strength. Bei Xianayu said. It's just a little bit short, but it's almost there. Brother Xianayu, you got the blood knife sent by the master, and your strength has greatly increased. I also want to congratulate Brother Xianayu. Now in King Cheng, Jinfengxiayu Tower is completely under control and can be handed over to Ling Xian for management. We should help the master expand his power and extend Jinfengxiayu Tower to the outside of the Great Wall. Dugu Wudi said. Bei Xianayu and Dugu Wudi were both powerful figures in their previous lives, so how could they live in King Cheng? Now that they are close to develop Lingnan County, there are already people there. So if they want to develop, they can only go to the outside of the Great Wall. The strongest force in the frontier that borders King Cheng is the Red Sand Palace. A few days ago, the Red Sand Palace sent people to contact Bei Xianayu, hoping to cooperate with the Golden Wind and Rain Tower. Brother Debu, do you want to take action against the Red Sand Palace? The Red Sand Palace is not so easy to deal with. From the previous information, they can be enemies with the Buddhist sect and still exist, which shows that there are definitely strong people in the palace. Bei Xianayu said. The frontier that borders King Cheng is not only the Red Sand Palace, but also some small magic sects. We can take action and control these small magic sects first. Dugu Wudi said. It seems that Mr. Dugu has already had an idea, so let's do it. Bei Xianayu said. Dada. At this time, the sound of knocking on the door sounded. Come in. Bei Xianayu said. Meet the owner of the building. Meet Mr. Debu. There is a person outside who calls himself the Ghost Domain of the Frontier and wants to see you. Ling Xian said. Who came in? Ghost Domain, one of the big magic sects in the Frontier. Why are they here? Bei Xianayu frowned slightly. Sitting in the Jinfengxiayu Tower in King Cheng, Bei Xianayu naturally wants to know the current situation of the demons outside the Great Wall. Mr. Dugu, let's go meet each other. Bei Xianayu stood up and said to Dugu Wudi. Dugu Wudi has also checked some information about the forces outside the Great Wall in the past few days and knows that this ghost domain is not simple. The two went downstairs with Ling Xian to a living room. A man wrapped in a black robe was standing in the living room, exuding a chill. Suddenly, his eyes looked towards the door. Seeing Bei Xianayu and Dugu Wudi walking into the living room, a hint of surprise appeared in his eyes above the black cloth. When Bei Xianayu and Dugu Wudi came in, they sensed the breath of each other, and their hearts moved slightly. Meeting the Lord of the Bei Tower, Mr. Dugu Wudi. I'm the 10th boss of the Ghost Domain, Lei Xingchen. The man in black robe introduced himself first. It is rumored that there are 10 peaks in the Ghost Domain, and there is a boss on each peak. These 10 bosses are very mysterious, and no one has ever seen their true faces. I didn't expect that this time, when I came to Jinfengxiayu Tower in King Cheng, I would be the top 10 in the Ghost Realm. Chapter 130 to Helian Chunshu, Halfei, Jing Wuming. Outside the Lingnan Prefecture, on the official road, a team was moving forward, with a large carriage in the middle. In front and behind the carriage were tall horses and guards wearing official robes of the Northern Pacification Division. There were also some followers around. Inside the large carriage, a young man in brocade clothes was half lying on the soft couch of the carriage. He was drinking fine wine. Next to him was a woman in a purple long skirt serving him. Opposite him, there was an old man in a tight suit. The old man's face was not old, and he exuded a sense of vigor. The half-lying young man in brocade clothes looked out the window. "How long will it take for us to reach the Lingnan prefecture?" the young man said. "Young Marquis, we still have half a day's journey to enter the territory of Lingnan prefecture, and we can reach the Lingnan prefecture in 2 more days," said the maid in the purple long skirt beside him. From the woman's words, we can know that this young man is Helian Chunshu, the son of the Zenon Marquis who came to Lingnan prefecture. "Is it still that long?" Helian Chunshu shook his head. "Young Marquis, this trip to Lingnan prefecture will probably not be so peaceful. We should be careful," the old man in tight clothes said. "Doesn't Yanyu want to give up his position as leader? He is a traitor. I have been thinking about dealing with him for a long time, but I just haven't had the chance." Hearing this, Helian Chunshu said coldly. His tone showed disdain for Yanyu. "Young Marquis, Yanyu has been able to sit firmly in the position of leader of Lingnan prefecture for many years. He should not be underestimated. Although there is a slight problem in their relationship with the Qinglang temple of the Tantric sect, it is not certain that it is smokescreen they released. Lingnan prefecture is, after all, the territory of the Tantric sect," said the old man in tight clothes. "So what about the Tantric sect?" The appearance of the golden plum bottle in the Lingayu sword sect this time is an opportunity for other forces like us to enter Lingnan prefecture. "What has happened to the Lingayu sword sect recently?" Helian Chunshu said. "Everything is very peaceful, but the forces in Lingnan County should be restless. I have already notified the Shan sect to gather people and go to Lingayu sword sect. Try to create some atmosphere before you, the young Marquis, arrive at Lingnan County. When you arrive, you can destroy Lingayu sword sect first," the old man in tight clothes said. From their conversation, the golden plum bottle was mentioned only once, and they were particularly concerned about Lingayu sword sect, as if their main purpose was to destroy Lingayu sword sect. This Lingayu sword sect is also unlucky. In order to curry favor with Prime Minister K, they presented the golden plum bottle, but they gave a fake golden plum bottle. For this, Prime Minister K was furious and took this opportunity to create chaos in Lingnan County. "See if we can weaken the power of the secret sect in Lingnan County. We are just a knife in their hands. I don't know why my father wants to cooperate with Prime Minister K this time." The young man couldn't help but speak out. "This little old slave, don't know," said the old man in tight clothes. Ouch. Suddenly, the coachman outside shouted to pull the horse. The carriage slowly stopped. Helian Chunshu's eyes in the carriage condensed, and the woman in the purple dress beside him lifted the curtain. "What happened?" "Miss Z, there seem to be 2 people in front of the official road," the coachman said immediately. 2 people. Hearing this, the purple-clothed girl was startled. Her face showed a look of alert, and her figure immediately returned to the carriage. "Young Marquis, there may be something in front. You stay in the car. I'll go down and take a look," the woman called Miss Z said. Helian Chunshu, his eyes condensed, nodded. The purple-clothed woman jumped out of the carriage. At this time, in front of the carriage, the guards of the Northern Pacification Division with swords were staring at the 2 people standing in the middle of the official road. Both of them held long swords in their hands. One of them had a dead look on his face, and the other had a smile on his face. It was Jing Wuming and Afei. They came here to take Helian Chunshu's life. Helian Chunshu is the son of the Marquis of Zenon, and he must have experts around him. So the 2 of them came together. Of course, in the dark, Ziokyushu was also looking over here. This was the first time that the Qinglang Society took action, so there must be no problems. "Who are you? Don't you know whose convoy this is?" one of them said sternly. "Isn't this the convoy of the young Marquis Helian Chunshu?" Afei smiled at the person who finished speaking. "I know, you still." When the person who spoke said this, his eyes condensed, and he clenched his sword tightly in his hand. Previously, they guessed that the other party came with bad intentions. but the other party directly pointed out that they came for the young Marquis, and they seemed a little nervous. At this time, the purple-clothed woman had already arrived in front of the convoy. The guards of the Northern Pacification Division in front of the car immediately saluted the purple-clothed woman, and the purple-clothed woman looked at Jing Wuming and Ah Fei. It seems that you are here for our young Marquis. If you leave now, we can give you half of your commission this time. The purple-clothed woman opened her mouth and said half of their commission. This is because she knew the purpose of Jing Wuming and the others coming. The girl is really big, but this time we only want the young Marquis's head, nothing else. Ah Fei said. While he was speaking, behind the purple-clothed woman, 6 guards from the Northern Pacification Division instantly drew their swords and slashed at Ah Fei and Jing Wuming. The sword light was like a meteor, extremely fast. They were chosen by Helly and Chunshu to become guards, and the strength they brought to Lingnan County must be extraordinary. It's just that they are fast. The people they are facing are faster than them. Ah Fei and Jing Wuming flashed, and the sword light flashed. Swish, swish, swish. The 6 guards from the Northern Pacification Division fell to the ground, and the long swords in their hands fell down. Plop. The 6 people knelt on the ground at the same time. There was a clear sword mark in the middle of their chests. The sword mark directly pierced their hearts and killed them in one blow. What a fast sword. The purple-clothed woman was shocked when she saw this scene. It pierced the hearts of 3 people in a blink of an eye, so fast. She didn't even see it. And it was not just one person, but 2 people. Who are you? The purple-clothed woman suppressed her panic and looked at Jing Wuming and Ah Fei. Qinglong Society, Zhengai Hall, Jing Wuming, Ah Fei. The 2 responded at the same time. Qinglong Society, the purple-clothed woman recalled such forces in her mind, but did not find any clues. Her eyebrows moved, and a hummingbird suddenly flew out of her hand, and then she retreated. Stop them, she shouted. The remaining guards quickly attacked Ah Fei and Jing Wuming. In vain. Ah Fei and Jing Wuming shot out. The people who rushed over quickly fell to the ground. The purple-clothed woman had already arrived in front of the carriage. Inside the carriage, Helly and Chunshu had a silver spear in his hand. The old man in tight clothes stepped out of the carriage with a sharp look in his eyes. They did not leave, but waited for Ah Fei and the others to arrive. Chapter 133. It is Helly and Chunshu, but not Helly and Chunshu. I didn't expect you didn't run away. Ah Fei looked at Helly and Chunshu and said, I haven't heard of Qinglan Club, but you, Qinglan Club, are not simple to send out 2 such masters at once. You came to kill me for money. I can double the amount of money you offer. Helly and Chunshu said. Unfortunately, if it was normal, we would have done it, but you shouldn't have gone to Lingnan County. Ah Fei looked at Helly and Chunshu and said, it seems that someone in Lingnan County doesn't want me to go. Helly and Chunshu said, I'll give you a choice. Fight me at the same level. If you die, I will leave, or I die, and he will leave. Ah Fei looked at Helly and Chunshu and gave him a choice. Hearing this, Helly and Chunshu's eyes condensed. How dare you? With just the 2 of you, I will first experience your strength. The old man in tight clothes beside Helly and Chunshu said coldly. Step forward. Ziyi, I will stop them, and you take the young Marquis away. The old man was talking. The aura of the late soul refining realm burst out instantly, and a terrifying ki force pressed towards Ah Fei and the others. But his ki suppression did not work at all. Because Jing Wuming and Ah Fei were only 1 realm lower than him, this momentum could not suppress the 2 of them. Boom. However, the sword ki on Jing Wuming was also drawn out by his ki. Suddenly, the 2 terrifying ki forces collided, forming a wave, raising a cloud of dust. And the air also made a bursting sound. Finally, the 2 bodies retreated at the same time. Jing Wuming retreated 3 steps, and the other retreated 2 steps. There was still some difference in ki, but Jing Wuming used a sword, and the sword was his killing weapon. I'm giving you a chance. Ah Fei looked at Helly and Chunshu and said. Helly and Chunshu's eyes flickered. Young Marquis, go. At this time, the old man growled and suddenly pulled Helly and Chunshu, trying to take Helly and Chunshu away. But at this moment, a sword light suddenly whistled from the side. The old man's outstretched palm felt sharp and could only retreat. But the other grey sword energy tore through the air and headed straight for his chest. Seeing the sword energy, the old man raised his palm. Cheoshan Fu Hei Gong. Boom. He slapped his palm, and the energy rushed towards the sword energy like a sea tide. The energy was so strong that it tore through the air. He blocked the sword energy and pressed it towards Jing Wuming's face with his backhand. Jing Wuming's face remained unchanged. Instead of retreating, he moved forward and rushed forward like a straight line, looking for death. Seeing this, the old man's face turned ferocious, and the energy that burst out from his palms was even more terrifying, like a tornado, pressing towards Jing Wuming. Jing Wuming's body continued to move forward, and while avoiding the opponent's palm attack, he appeared in front of the opponent. A cold light flashed in his originally dead grey eyes. A grey sword energy flashed by and instantly pierced into the opponent's heart. A sword pierced through the heart. The old man looked at the long sword on his chest with disbelief in his eyes. Jing Wuming ignored his gaze and drew back his sword. The old man fell directly to the ground. You could have survived. After all, they didn't pay, and we didn't need to kill you. Seeing Jing Wuming draw back his sword, Ah Fei sighed. I don't know if the young Marquis will seize this opportunity. Ah Fei looked at Helian Chunshu and said, okay. At this time, Helian Chunshu had no other choice. He clenched the silver spear in his hand, and his aura began to change, and his eyes became sharp. But suddenly, he turned the spear in his hand, and the spear attacked Ah Fei like a residual shadow. The speed was extremely fast, and Ah Fei drew his sword to resist, and the sword light and the spear shadow kept colliding in the air. But then the sword light covered the spear shadow. Finally, the spear shadow disappeared, and the sword light left a mark. The two figures staggered. Helian Chunshu held the spear in his right hand and stood still. Blood flowed from his chest. He was pierced through the chest by Ah Fei's sword. Your sword is faster than my spear, so I didn't lose unfairly, but after today, someone will come to you to avenge me. For the sake of a fair fight between you and me, I tell you that I'm both Helian Chunshu and not Helian Chunshu. Plop. After saying this, Helian Chunshu fell directly to the ground. Ah Fei looked at the body of Helian Chunshu and frowned slightly. He didn't understand the meaning of Helian Chunshu's last sentence, but he believed that the other party would not say this for no reason. His eyes couldn't help but look at the purple-clothed woman. The purple-clothed woman's face changed drastically. If the young Marquis died, it would be difficult for them to live. As for what Helian Chunshu's last sentence meant, she didn't know. Let's go, Jing Wuming said. The two turned around and left quickly. After the two left, the purple-clothed woman quickly came to Helian Chunshu and said, send the body of the young Marquis back to the capital. This is what they can do now. Soon, the news that Helian Chunshu was killed by Ah Fei and Jing Wuming of the Zengaihu Hall of the Qinglang Society spread quickly. Outside Lingnan County, in an inn, a young man with a fair face and extraordinary bearing was standing by the window, looking outside, his bright eyes full of affection. At this time, a young man walked into the room. Master, your stand-in is dead. The one who attacked was Ah Fei from the Zengaihu Hall of the Qinglang Society. He suppressed his strength and fought against your stand-in. Your stand-in didn't take a few moves from the opponent and was pierced through the heart by a sword. The young man reported. Ah Fei from the Zengaihu Hall of the Qinglang Society. My stand-in has been replacing me for more than 20 years, but I didn't expect to be killed at this time. It seems that the water in Lingnan County is very deep. Since I'm dead, let's go back to the capital first. The young man with a fair face spoke. From the words of the white and quiet young man, it was heard that the one who was killed by Ah Fei before was the stand-in who replaced him for more than 20 years. No wonder Helian Chunshu said that he was Helian Chunshu, but not Helian Chunshu when he died. Because he has lived as Helian Chunshu for more than 20 years, in the eyes of outsiders, he is Helian Chunshu. But he knows that he is not the real Helian Chunshu. At this time, in another place, in the North Pacification office of Lingnan County, Yan Yu shattered the letter in his hand, and a look of joy appeared on his face. The letter said that Helian Chunshu was killed by Ah Fei of the Qinglang Society. Once Helian Chunshu died, his crisis was temporarily relieved. Moreover, he has established a connection with the people in the capital, and I believe that the crisis will soon no longer be a crisis. The leader of the Qinglang Society killed the young Marquis Helian. and we are going to move now. Pei Xiangsu said beside him. Immediately issue a wanted order for the Qinglang Society in Lingnan County. Yan Yu said. Although he couldn't find anyone from the Qinglang Society, he still had to show his attitude. You spread the news secretly, saying that the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower is related to the Qinglang Society. This time I will use the power of the North Pacification Office to destroy the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower. Yan Yu's eyes became sinister. Chapter 134. Qinglang Society, Liu Sheng Sword. What kind of father is he, if he doesn't avenge his son? He had been forbearing for this moment. Secretly mobilize the Black Cloud Guards of the Northern Pacification Division. I want the Golden Wind and Rain Tower. No one left alive. Yan Yu said in a deep voice. The Northern Pacification Division is one of the power institutions of the Great Zhao Dynasty to deal with the forces of the underworld. Of course, there are some elites. The Black Cloud Guards are the elites of the Northern Pacification Division. Will Naren Rangan be dealt with as well? Pei Xiangsu said behind him. Naren Rangan has taken refuge in the Golden Wind and Rain Tower. Get rid of them together. Suddenly Yan Yu stopped talking and looked outside the hall. At this time, outside the hall, a middle-aged monk in a monk's robe was standing outside the door. Master Kang He. Seeing the person coming, Yan Yu was startled and stepped forward to greet him. Monk Kang He was the eldest disciple of the Great Wisdom Dharma King of Qinglang Temple. He didn't know why Monk Kang He came to him. Commander Yan, I'm here on behalf of Qinglang Temple. The master called. Kang He walked into the living room, clasped his hands and said. Hearing this, Yan Yu was stunned. He didn't quite understand what Kang He meant. The news about Lingayu Sword Sect's Golden Plum Bottle should have been deliberately released by the capital. The purpose is to erode my tantric territory. I'm here this time. I hope Commander Yan can suppress the underworld forces in Lingnan County. Kang He said. Hearing this, Yan Yu's eyes condensed. Master, you mean Lingayu Sword Sect has no news about Golden Plum Bottle? But without waiting for Kang He's answer, Yan Yu said in a deep voice, Master, even if there is no news, I can't suppress the current situation. Lingayu Sword Sect was rumored to have Golden Plum Bottle. It was destined to be destroyed. He, Yan Yu, had no ability to suppress the current situation. Commander Yan, don't worry, my Qinglang Temple will assist you. The 4 great monks of Qinglang Temple are here with me. Kang He said. The 4 great monks of Qinglang Temple. Upon hearing this, Yan Yu's face showed surprise. He didn't expect that Qinglang Temple would send 4 great monks to come. We live in Shangzhen Zen Temple in the city. If you want to make up your mind, you can contact us. Monk Kang He said, bowed, and said goodbye. After Monk Kang He left, Yan Yu's face moved. I didn't expect Golden Plum Bottle to be in Qinglang Temple, and I didn't expect them to fish out Qinglang Temple. Yan Yu said. He had previously guessed that someone was using Lingayu Sword Sect to fish. Who would be fished out? But he didn't expect to fish out Qinglang Temple. Sir, do we want to participate in this matter? Pei Xiangsu beside him said. We are already in the game, and we have to participate, even if we don't want to. But don't worry about these. We plan to get rid of Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower first. Yan Yu said in a deep voice. You go down and arrange it. Yan Yu ordered. Pei Xiangsu bowed and accepted the order and left the hall. Yan Yu sat alone on the main chair in the hall, thinking about something. After receiving the order, Pei Xiangsu left Yan's mansion and went to the commander of the Black Cloud Guard of the Northern Pacification Division. At this time, it was already dusk. Pei Xiangsu stepped into Yan's mansion, and soon he felt that he was being watched. His eyes fixed, and his figure moved forward quickly. But the street, which was originally crowded, seemed to suddenly become quiet. In front of him, a man in black clothes with a long sword on his waist was slowly approaching. Seeing this man appear, Pei Xiangsu's heart trembled. A ruthless sword energy came from the other party. The people around felt this cold sword intent, and they felt as if they were stabbed by a sword all over their bodies. Then they fled one after another. What a cold and ruthless sword intent. Pei Xiangsu's heart palpitated, and he looked at the man in black who was walking towards him with vigilance. His pupils shrank, and he said, I don't know. Why did you stop, Pei? The man in black stopped Pei Xiangsu and said, "Someone paid me, the Qinglang Society, to kill you, so I came to take your life." Hearing this, Pei Xiangsu's face changed drastically. He looked at the man in black and said, "Qinglang Society, someone paid you to kill me. Who are you?" How could he not know about the Qinglang Society? They asked the Qinglang Society to kill Helian Chunshu, and they also wanted to use the name of the Qinglang Society to eradicate the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower. But they are moving. Others are also moving, and have asked the people of the Qinglang Society to kill them. Qinglang Society's in Gaotang, Liu Shengyijian. The man in black said. This man in black is Su Chen, who used the shape-changing method to transform into Liu Shengyijian. He came to kill Pei Xiangsu and Yan Yu in the name of the Qinglang Society. Helian Chunshu has been killed, so there is no need to keep Yan Yu. Xiao Qiushu, Fei, Jing Wuming and others are now on their way back, so he personally took action. Seeing this, Pei Xiangsu stabilized his mind, his eyes changed, and his figure shot out. When he shot out, he pulled his hand from his waist, and a soft sword appeared in his hand. He attacked Su Chen instantly. This sword came out suddenly, and the speed was extremely fast. The man followed the sword, and the sword energy was like a spirit snake, changing strangely. During the movement, the surrounding space, under this sword energy, made a harsh sound. The sound pierced into people's ears like a wave, affecting people's nerves. Under normal circumstances, this sword is very powerful. But he didn't know that he was facing Su Chen, who was using the Liu Sheng sword experience card. Looking at this sword, a trace of disdain flashed in his eyes. Just when the spirit snake-like sword was about to pierce Su Chen's throat, Su Chen moved, his figure took a step, and the long sword in his hand was instantly pulled out. His figure moved, and the sword light flashed. The person was already behind Pei Xiangsu. Draw the sword back into the scabbard. Plop. Pei Xiangsu fell to the ground. His eyes were filled with astonishment. He was killed by a sword before he could even touch the opponent with his confident sword. Pei Xiangsu, who was lying on the ground, took advantage of his last bit of consciousness to turn his head and look behind him. But all he saw was Su Chen's back. His back was heading towards Yan's mansion. He wanted to say something, but his consciousness was blurred, and he fell to the ground without a breath. Isn't that Master Pei? After Su Chen left, one person seemed to have seen Pei Xiangsu's identity and exclaimed. Some people looked in the direction where Su Chen had just gone. Something big is going to happen. Some people thought to themselves. Their bodies were heading towards Yan's mansion, because the black-clothed man who claimed to be Liu Shengyijian of the Qinglang Society was heading towards Yan's mansion. Needless to say, it must be to deal with Yan Yu, the commander of the Northern Pacification Division of Lingnan County. Su Chen, who was walking forward, was excited. Using Liu Shengyijian's experience card, he felt the power of Liu Shengyijian. Man and sword become one, a ruthless sword. The sword strikes and kills. He was far from such a realm. However, using this experience card allowed him to experience a lot, which was of great help to his practice. I'm practicing swords for the time being. Why are all the experience cards from Kendo Masters? In fact, Su Chen was still a little puzzled. In addition to Liu Shengyijian, he also had Zhu Yiren's experience card. They were all ruthless Kendo Masters. Chapter 135, Killed with one sword. Yan Yu died. Yang Mansion. Su Chen stepped forward. Who is it? The guard in front of Yan Mansion shouted sternly when he saw Su Chen coming. Swish, swish. Two sword lights flashed, and the two guards fell directly to the ground, with blood flowing out of their bodies. Su Chen pushed the door and stepped into Yan Mansion. Seeing the sudden intruder, the guards of Yan Mansion quickly rushed towards Su Chen. Su Chen continued to move forward. The sword energy was everywhere, and the people who intercepted him all fell to the ground. When they fell to the ground, they were still in the same state as when they rushed in. Who dares to break into the Northern Pacification Division Commander's mansion? As Su Chen moved forward, a voice came, and with the voice, a figure appeared in front of Su Chen at a very fast speed, and slapped Su Chen with a palm. The palm was black, with a corrosive energy. Su Chen's eyes froze, and the long sword in his hand slashed out instantly. In an instant, the arm that was slapped out was directly cut off. Ah! The person who shot let out a shrill scream. But then the scream stopped abruptly because his throat was also pierced by the sword energy. His body fell to the ground. At this time, a man in the dark who was about to attack Su Chen from behind changed his face and wanted to retreat. But when he turned around, a sword energy passed by and his body was directly split in two. However, in this short time, a figure had already walked out of the hall. It was Yan Yu. He looked at Su Chen with a gloomy look. I didn't expect that someone would break into my Yan mansion today. Yan Yu didn't ask who Su Chen was, but said in a cold voice, "Kill him." He shouted in a low voice. Boom. At this time, two figures walked out behind him. These two figures were covered with flesh and had rough faces, but their eyes did not have the slightest life. These were two living dead refined by Yan Yu. Su Chen looked at the two living dead and his eyes condensed. These two living dead were different from the living dead he had seen before. These two people had a heavy evil spirit, and their flesh was like fine iron. Two living dead with very strong bodies. Yan Yu stepped back and looked at Su Chen with cold eyes. When these two living dead were refined, the emphasis was on physical strength. Their muscles were like fine iron. Even if he hit them with a palm, he couldn't break their defense. He wanted to watch the two of them hammer Su Chen to death. Boom. In his eyes, the two living dead took the lead. They raised their hands at the same time and rushed towards Su Chen violently. When they rushed, their muscles began to change, emitting a series of hot breaths. Bang, bang. The two fists fell, raising countless dust on the ground. The energy swept violently around. But Su Chen turned slightly and avoided their attack. The dust and gravel were also shattered by his own sword energy. If you want to dodge with your body skills, then you underestimate them. Yan Yu said coldly. The energy in the fists of the two people who attacked surged, forming waves and spreading around, affecting Su Chen's space to dodge. But a sneer flashed in Su Chen's eyes. He did not retreat but advanced. When he passed the two people, the long sword in his hand stabbed out instantly. The sword energy went directly to the center of the two people's eyebrows. The speed was so fast that the sword light flashed, and Su Chen's body had passed through the two people and came in front of Yan Yu. Yan Yu's eyes condensed, looking at the two zombies standing there. He wanted to see the reaction of the zombies. Don't look at it. Although their physical bodies are well cultivated, they don't have the energy to maintain it. They can't stop my sword energy by relying solely on the power of medicine to transform into pure physical bodies. Su Chen said coldly. While he was speaking, the two zombies fell directly to the ground. Blood flowed from their foreheads. In a flash of lightning, their heads were pierced by Su Chen's sword energy. The sword energy of Liu Shengyijian is so domineering. Seeing the two people lying on the ground, Yan Yu's expression changed. He didn't expect that the two zombies he left by his side would be killed by the opponent with one blow. Who are you? He looked at Su Chen and asked in a deep voice. Just now, your master, Pei Xiangsu, also asked this question. I answered him at that time, and now I will tell you. I am Qinglang Society, Xingai Tang Liu Shengyijian. Su Chen said. He wanted to put all the Qinglang Society in Lingnan County under Xingai Tang. Qinglang Society, you are from Qinglang Society. Hearing Su Chen's words, Yan Yu's face showed horror. You killed Helian Chunshu, and now you want to kill me. Aren't you afraid of the great Zhao dynasty's wanted order? Yan Yu looked at Su Chen and said. Killing one is killing, isn't killing two also killing? What's more, is it that easy to want us? Su Chen said coldly. If you want to kill me, then let me see how fast and sharp your sword is. Yan Yu shouted, and a violent energy burst out instantly. Yan Yu was able to become the commander of the North Pacification Division of Lingnan County, so his own strength was certainly not bad. At the moment when the ki in his body burst out, his whole body was agitated, and his whole body was actually raised by 1 foot. Outside the body, the ki and blood were rolling like a furnace. Blood refining palm. The figure stepped forward, and his palm directly slapped Liu Sheng's sword. The palm was bloody, and had a crystal clear feeling. Seeing this, Su Chen slashed with a sword. The collision between the sword ki and the palm made a bang sound. This time, Su Chen's sword ki did not break the opponent's palm. Su Chen's face did not change at all. Yan Yu could become the commander of the North Pacification Division of Lingnan County. If he did not have a little ability, how could he stand in Lingnan County for so many years? The warriors of Lingnan County are not what he sees on the surface. One strike. Yan Yu's palm immediately clenched into a fist and punched out. A sticky blood burst out from his palm, and the strong blood compressed the air to form an air wave, attacking Su Chen. Su Chen narrowed his eyes slightly, and his figure flew into the air, slashing with a sword. The fist of Yan Yu did not stop at all, and collided with Su Chen's long sword. Boom. Two key forces collided. The fist penetrated the sword energy and hit Su Chen's body directly. Bang. The fist directly pierced Su Chen's body, but after the piercing, Yan Yu's face changed. Because behind that figure, Su Chen appeared, holding the long sword with both hands, and slashed with the sword. The sword flashed. The two figures fell on the ground. Yan Yu turned and looked at Su Chen. Your body and sword skills are so fast that they are beyond my consciousness. After saying that, a sword mark appeared between his eyebrows, and a trace of blood flowed out of it. Plop. The figure fell directly on the ground. Su Chen retracted the long sword and prepared to turn around and leave. The host killed a local high-ranking official of the Great Zhao for the first time and was rewarded with 2 blue lottery cards. At this time, a voice sounded in Su Chen's ears. Su Chen, who turned around and left, was moved. He didn't expect that this could trigger a reward. His expression did not move, and his figure quickly disappeared in the Northern Pacification Division Commander's mansion. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 136, Qinglong Society becomes famous, Lingnan County changes. The news of Yan Yu's death spread quickly throughout the Lingnan Prefecture. No one expected that someone would brazenly break into the Lingnan Prefecture North Pacification Division's headquarters. Liu Sheng's sword. Qinglong Society, Xingyatang, for a time, formed a storm in Lingnan Prefecture. Inside an inn. What kind of organization is this Qinglong Society? They just killed the young Marquis Helian Chunshu outside the prefecture, and then killed Yan Yu, the leader of Lingnan Prefecture North Pacification Division. This is a slap in the face of the North Pacification Division. The Beijing North Pacification Division must take action against the Qinglong Society. Do you think this Qinglong Society can bear it? Someone in the inn said. Why can't we bear it? Who knows where the Qinglong Society is? What's more, it's just a hole of the Qinglong Society. Has anyone heard of the Qinglong Society before? No. What does it mean? It means that this force is very mysterious. I want to find it. How can I find it? No. Wasn't there a person named Jing Wuming who was gathering the assassin organization in Lingnan County? Isn't this a clue? What kind of clue is this? It's possible that the assassin organization is a pawn thrown by the Qinglong Society. It's an existence that allows the Northern Pacification Office to vent its anger. Someone said softly. Hearing this, many people felt that what this person said made sense. The fermentation of the matter made the entire Lingnan County force somewhat unexpected. Lingnan County. County Magistrate's Mansion. In a secret room. An old man in gorgeous clothes stood with his hands behind his back, his brows slightly furrowed, and it seemed that he had encountered something. This old man was the Lingnan County Magistrate Wen Yifan. Creaking. On the side of the secret room, the stone door was opened, and a figure walked in. The person who came was the right provincial government history Zhe Xianan. Greetings, Lord County Magistrate. Zhe Xianan bowed. What's going on with this Qinglong Society? How's the investigation going? Wen Yifan asked in a deep voice. I just know that they subjugated some assassin organizations a few days ago. After these assassin organizations were subjugated, the senior members have now disappeared. The one who showed up at that time was a swordmaster named Jing Wuming. This person should be one of the people who assassinated the young Marquis. The Right Governor Zhe Xianan said in a deep voice. This Qinglong Society is a bit unruly. Not only did they kill the young Marquis, they also killed Yan Yu, the leader of the Northern Pacification Division of Lingnan County. They are provoking the Northern Pacification Division. The Northern Pacification Division must be angry, especially the Zenon Marquis. I believe that the Northern Pacification Division has sent experts here now. County Magistrate Wen Yifan said in a deep voice. Sir, you are afraid. I'm not afraid, I'm just wondering what would happen if these people who came here stayed in Lingnan Prefecture. You are going to take action to keep these people in Lingnan Prefecture? Zhe Xiaonan asked softly. I don't have to take action. This Qinglang society dared to kill Yan Yu and Helian Chunshu. They must have the confidence. I want to contact them. County Magistrate Wen Yifan said. Sir, you still can't take action on this matter. It's best for me to come forward. Zhe Xiaonan said in a deep voice. Your strength is still a little lacking. I'm afraid you will be in danger. Wen Yifan shook his head. It doesn't matter. My identity should have been half revealed at this time. If something happens in Changhan Palace, I will reveal it to them sooner or later. And they are preparing the antidote to eliminate the poison in their bodies. Zhe Xiaonan said. It doesn't matter if they make an antidote. If I take action, they will still die. General Ling has sent someone to deliver a bottle of soul refining pill given to you by the third prince. I believe that after taking this pill, your strength should be able to enter the late stage of soul refining. It should arrive in 3 days. When the time comes, you should come here in advance to wait. County Magistrate Wen Yifan said. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your cultivation. Zhe Xiaonan immediately bowed and thanked him. Don't thank us. We are all working for the third prince. I will stay in this position in the county government for at most 1 more year. After 1 year, you will be the governor of Lingnan County. County Magistrate Wen Yifan said. Hearing Wen Yifan's words, Zhe Xiaonan's face showed joy. During this year, you must not have any accidents, otherwise, Lingnan County will be lost. As for the Lingayu sword sect, you should not interfere recently. Wait for the pill to arrive in 3 days, and then you will retreat to breakthrough. After reaching the peak, you can come out of retreat. Wen Yifan ordered. Sir, the current situation in Lingnan County, Zhe Xiaonan said in a deep voice. The current situation is still within our expectations. The additional Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower and Qinglang Society have helped us speed up some of the process. Okay, you go back first, and come back in 3 days. Wen Yifan waved his hand. Yes. The right provincial government history. Zhe Xiaonan left the secret passage. Wen Yifan also left the secret room. At this time, outside the county government, in a village, Zihanayu looked at the information in front of her, and her pupils suddenly shrank. This Qinglang society killed Helian Chunshu, and also entered the Yan mansion to kill Yan Yu. Long Po. You don't have to do anything. After a long while, she spoke and handed the information in her hand to the Long Po beside her. The Long Po took the information in Zihanayu's hand and read it. There was also a look of surprise on her face. This Qinglang society is really ruthless. They attack openly. They just killed the young Marquis over there, and they killed Yan Yu here. Among them, Liu Sheng Yijian. His swordsmanship is fierce, and he killed people with one sword. Stronger than Jing Wuming and A Fei. Long Po looked at the information and said, yes. And they all belong to the Zengaiu Hall of the Qinglang Society. It's just a hall, but with such strong strength. This Qinglang Society is much stronger than I thought. Zihanayu said. Miss, you have to maintain the relationship with this Qinglang Society, and the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower may help you compete for the leader of the Hanayu sect. Long Po said in a deep voice. At this time, a figure walked in from the outside of the door. It was the maid Xiaolan. Miss, I got news here that some sects are uniting. They are going to go up the mountain to threaten the Lingayu sword sect and get the news of the golden plum bottle. Xiaolan said in a deep voice. Which forces? Hearing this, Zihanayu couldn't help but ask. Shanking Temple, Xianluo City, Zuki Sect, Shan Sect. Other forces are joining in, but something happened to Shan Sect. One of the deputy sect leaders, Mu Xianayan, seemed to oppose the attack on Lingayu Sword Sect at the high-level meeting of Shan Sect. He was seriously injured by the sect leader of Shan Sect and has returned to Xianluo Peak to recuperate. However, there is news that someone will soon replace him as the deputy sect leader. Xiaolan replied, I didn't expect that there is still a sober person in Shan sect, but this sober person was injured by the sect leader of Shan sect. It's interesting. Zihanayu murmured. She was a little curious in her heart. Chapter 137, Golden Plum Bottle, Speculation, Sudden Change. Logically speaking, Mu Xiaonan is the deputy leader of Shanmen. Even if he is against the leader of Shanmen, the leader of Shanmen should not beat Mu Xiaonan severely in public. Do you know what happened in the hall? This subordinate is investigating. I believe that the news should be available later. Xiaolan said. Report to me immediately, as soon as you have the news. Zihanayu ordered. At this time, in the Jinfeng Xiao building, Bei Chaofei stood on the pavilion, dressed in white and elegant. Nalan Rangayan, who was next to him, was also dressed in white and beautiful. The two stood together, giving a sense of a golden boy and a jade girl. Building owner. The people of the Qinglang Society killed Helian Chunshu and Yan Yu, the leader of the Lingnan County North Pacification Division. Now many people want to buy information about the Qinglang Society. What do you think? Then just tell them the information I said before. Bei Chaofei said. Now the Qinglang Society is in full swing, and it will soon spread throughout the Great Zhao Dynasty. If he spreads this news, it will also help the Qinglang Society to move forward. I understand. By the way, the people of the Li family are making moves, and it seems that they are going to move out of Lingnan Prefecture. Nalan Rangayan said. Someone is already planning to besiege Lingayu Sword Sect and force them to hand over the news of Golden Plum Bottle. Li Muchen, the eldest son of the Li family, is the eldest disciple of the Lingayu Sword Sect. They are deeply involved with each other, and it is normal for them to want to leave Lingnan Prefecture. Is there any problem? Bei Chaofei looked at Nalan Rangayan and said. He believed that Nalan Rangayan would not specifically mention this matter, and there must be something behind it. Master, the Li family is the first family in Lingnan Prefecture. The first family was not named by themselves, but was granted by the Great Zhao Dynasty's national master, Master Xianmi of the Tantric sect, in the name of the court. In fact, the strongest force in the entire northern 9 counties is the Tantric sect. It is not an exaggeration to say that this is the territory controlled by the Tantric sect, and the northern 9 counties are the Tantric sect. So with this plaque, no one dares to touch the Li family. But now that the Li family is moving, it means that there is a problem with the national master of the capital. Based on the previous incident of Helian Chunshu coming to Lingnan Prefecture, I guess that someone in the capital may want to take action against the Tantric sect in the northern 9 counties. And the strongest Tantric sect in the northern 9 counties is the Qinglang Temple in Lingnan Prefecture. Nalan Rangayan did not finish her words and continued. Bei Chaofei had already understood. Someone in the capital might take advantage of the chaos in Lingnan Prefecture to take action against the Qinglang Temple, using the Qinglang Temple as a breakthrough point to pry open the Tantric sect forces in the entire northern 9 counties. Could it be that the Lingayu Sword sect is just a fuse? Then the real Golden Plum Bottle may be in the Qinglang Temple. Bei Chaofei suddenly thought of something and said. That should be the case. What should we do now, Op? Nalan Rangayan said. What should we do? For the time being, do nothing. Wait until the people from the alliance attack the Lingayu Sword sect. Bei Chaofei said. Another place. Inside the mountain and river gate. In the cave, Su Chen opened his eyes and sat cross-legged. He returned to the gate overnight last night. He took a look at the 2 blue lottery cards he got from killing Yan Yu yesterday. Su Chen drew them directly. Obtain 5 bottles of refined soul releasing pills, 10 pills per bottle, and obtain a set of golden silkworm armor. Su Chen checked the refined soul reeling pills, which are pills that help the strong men in the soul refining realm to improve. As for the golden silkworm armor, it is a set of weapon level armor that can block the attacks of weapon level weapons. He was in a good mood and stepped out of the cave. When he walked out of the cave, outside the cave, a Xian Luo Peak disciple stepped forward and said, Brother Su, Senior Sister Mirren is calling you over from the Peak Master. Hearing this, Su Chen was stunned. What did Mirren King-Chen want to see him at this time? Let's go, Su Chen said, letting the Xian Luo Peak disciple lead the way. Along the way, some discussions rang in Su Chen's ears. Master, how could you hurt the Peak Master? Even if the deputy master disagrees, there is no need to do such a cruel thing. Who knows? Anyway, I know that our peak master is seriously injured, with broken ribs and damaged internal organs. Even if he recovers, his strength will drop sharply. What's going on? If the peak master's strength drops sharply, I'm afraid Shanluo Peak will change hands. Speak softly. If someone in the dark hears us, we are probably in trouble. Another person said. Su Chen's eyes narrowed slightly when he heard this news. He felt that something had happened in Shanluo Peak. Soon, the two came to the courtyard where Mu Xiaonan was. In a room, Mu Xiaonan was lying on the bed. His face looked pale, and he was sleeping. Not far from his bed, Mirren Chen was standing. There were no servants in the room. As for why there was only Mirren Chen, it was because the other disciples of Mu Xiaonan were all outside, so they didn't know about him for the time being. When Su Chen was led in, Mirren Chen waved his hand and asked the servant to leave. The servant bowed and left. Senior Sister Mirren, what happened? Su Chen looked at the injured Mu Xiaonan on the bed and said, Master opposed to attacking Lingyu sword sect, and the headmaster injured master with a palm, and also left a layer of poison in his body. Mirren Chen said in a deep voice. Hearing Mirren Chen's words, Su Chen was a little puzzled and said, Senior sister, even if master raised objections, the headmaster couldn't beat him seriously. I don't know about this either, Mirren said softly. Hearing this, Su Chen didn't ask any more questions. He glanced at Mu Xiaonan lying on the bed to heal his wounds, and sighed in his heart. I just became the disciple of Shanluo Peak Master Mu Xiaonan, and just became the true disciple of Shan sect, and my master has become like this. His backer fell too quickly. I haven't even gotten the wool from him yet. Sister, what should we do now? Su Chen asked with some confusion. I have notified my brothers and sisters to come back. They should be here soon. I called you here to take care of my master. I'll go check what happened in the master's hall. Mirren Chen said, Sister, this matter should be left to me. I don't think anyone will care about me. Su Chen said. He wanted to find out why the Shan sect master had severely injured Mu Xiaonan. Of course, Su Chen was also very unhappy with the Shan sect master. He had finally found a big brother, but in a few days, this big brother was going to disappear. How could Su Chen be willing to accept this? He must find out the reason. Mirren Chen frowned slightly. Sister, you are more famous among the disciples of our master, so they must be on guard against you. But I'm different. I just got started. I haven't learned anything yet. In this situation, I think many people may sympathize with me. I may be able to find something useful. Su Chen said. Hearing Su Chen's words, Mirren Chen nodded. Su Chen bowed to Mu Xiaonan lying on the bed and left. Soon, Su Chen came to the main peak. Of course, Su Chen changed into the clothes of a first-class inner disciple at this time. Although Su Chen's reputation was well known in Shanmen, few people had seen Su Chen. So when Su Chen arrived at the main peak, no one cared. Chapter 138 Hijacking, Secret. However, there was no discussion on the main peak. And when some people saw Su Chen wearing the clothes of Shanluo Peak disciples, they deliberately avoided him. It seemed that they were afraid that Su Chen would contact them. Su Chen's face did not change, but he knew that he thought things were simple. How could it be so easy to find out what was going on in the headmaster's hall? That was a high-level meeting of Shanmen. Su Chen's mind turned. Suddenly he thought of Kan Mu, the son of the headmaster. As the young headmaster of Shanmen, he must know what was going on in the headmaster's hall. As long as he kidnapped Kan Mu, he should be able to ask him about the things in the headmaster's hall. Thinking of it, Su Chen did it. He left quickly, and when he appeared again, Su Chen changed to another peak, the disciples of Xianqi Peak, and their faces also changed. He went to Kan Mu's courtyard. Kan Mu did not choose a cave, but a large courtyard. At this time, in the courtyard, Kan Mu's face was gloomy. He did not expect that a meeting would turn out like this. The outside world is now spreading again. Mu Xiaonan was injured by his father because he didn't want to attack Lingyu sword sect. Actually, it was true. But his father's mind was controlled by someone, and he attacked Mu Xiaonan. Now his father's mind is damaged, and he has been in seclusion to recover from his injuries. Now Shanman is in charge of the Great Elder, who controlled my father's mind and plotted against Uncle Pastor. Kan Mu wanted to see his father, but his father was in seclusion to recover, so he couldn't see him at all. Uncle Mu, who do you think plotted against my father? Kan Mu said. Young master, the Great Elder is investigating this matter. I believe it will be found out soon. We can only wait for news now. An old man standing next to him said. But there is no movement from the Great Elder? If it drags on like this, my father's reputation will be ruined. Kan Mu said in a deep voice. As the headmaster, his reputation cannot be lost. Once it is lost, I'm afraid that he will not be able to be the headmaster. So Kan Mu seemed a little anxious at this time. Mu Leo, who was beside him, heard this and said in a deep voice, young master, with the power we have now, it is not advisable to move for the time being. The enemy is in the dark and has not yet appeared. If we use our power, we must kill him with one strike. Hearing the old man's words, Kan Mu's eyes condensed. It was indeed as the old man said. Mu Leo, did your father tell you anything before he went into seclusion to recover from his injuries? I think my father should have a backup plan. Otherwise, those people should have jumped out. Kan Mu asked afterwards. The master of the sect told you two things. One is that, as long as he doesn't come out of seclusion, those people will not move for the time being. The second thing is that you secretly hold the master's token, go to the back mountain, and enter the cold pond cave. As for what is in the cold pond cave, the master didn't elaborate. The old man said. Mu Leo, you go to the elder first and find out what the elder thinks, and I will go to the cold pond in the back mountain in secret. Kan Mu said. Now that he knows that his father's mind is damaged, only the elder and them know in the Shan sect. No one else knows. Yes. Mu Leo bowed and left the hall. After Mu Leo left, Kan Mu did not leave immediately. At this time, Chen, who had changed his appearance, appeared outside the mansion. There was no one at the door, so Chen walked straight in. The courtyard seemed a little quiet. Kan Mu was the young master, but there were few disciples doing odd jobs in the mansion. Moreover, Kan Mu was in a bad mood today. Some servants were temporarily withdrawn by him. Soon Chen sneaked into the living room and saw Kan Mu in the hall. Young master, the disciple Shianchi Pike Moderen came to see you. Chen walked outside and bowed. Kan Mu, who was thinking about how to sneak into the cold pond in the back mountain, heard the voice at the door and looked up to see Chen outside. His expression was stunned. He didn't understand why the Moderen came to see him. You call him Moderen? Kan Mu frowned slightly. Yes, young master. Someone asked me to deliver a letter to the young master. Chen said, and walked into the hall, walked towards Kan Mu, and took out a letter from his arms. Someone wants you to give me a letter. Kan Mu was a little confused, but he still reached out to take it. The moment he reached out to take it, Chen suddenly made a move, turned his palm, clenched it into a fist, and instantly punched Kan Mu in the heart. Chen controlled the strength and speed very well. Kan Mu didn't expect that he would be attacked in Shan Gate. So the heart was hit directly, the whole person felt chest tightness, and then his eyes went black, and the whole person fell to the ground. So easy. Chen didn't expect it to be so easy to capture Kan Mu. Looking at Kan Mu lying on the ground, he was a little embarrassed. He had to find a way to take Kan Mu away, find a place where no one was, and ask him something. He found a set of errand clothes from the space ring, changed into one himself, and then walked out of the courtyard with his arm around his shoulder. Out of the courtyard, met some disciples, but Chen and the others were wearing errand clothes, lowered their heads, and no one cared about them. In one place, Chen supported him, and entered a remote path, then turned into the forest. At a stream, Chen tied Kan Mu up. Then he used stream water to wake him up. After Kan Mu woke up, he saw Chen and his eyes turned cold. I didn't expect that you just plotted against my father and brought me here. What do you want to do? Kan Mu seemed very calm and looked at Chen. Chen's heart moved and he seemed to know some important information. The headmaster was plotted. That could only be the headmaster's action against his master. I really want to know why you didn't kill Mu Xianian. Chen asked in a low voice. Humph. Your mind control technique is still a little short. My father was awake at the last moment, so you didn't let your plan succeed. Mu looked at Su Chen and said coldly. It turns out that someone controlled his mind. The person who can control the headmaster's mind and plot against the headmaster is not simple. Su Chen thought in his heart, but his face did not change. How is your father now? Su Chen continued to ask. Hearing the other party asking about his father's situation, Mu's eyes condensed. My father is fine. He will definitely find you. Also, I'm missing. I believe that the people from Shanman will find this place soon. Mu looked at Su Chen and said, aren't you afraid that I will kill you? If you want to kill me, you won't bring me here. Mu can become the young master of Shanman, so his mind is naturally not simple. Indeed. Su Chen looked at the other party. A sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth, and suddenly his palm slapped the other party's head directly. Then Mu's eyes went black, and he fainted again. I won't kill you, but I can continue to knock you out. Su Chen said coldly. Then he stood up and said from the dark, you are here, just show up. Chapter 139. 1 cut for 1 person, 2 cuts for 2 persons. Under Su Chen's gaze, a man in black robe came out. The man in black robe looked at Su Chen and said coldly, your hearing is not simple. Who are you? My name is Mod Ren. I don't know what your name is? Su Chen asked naturally. Mod Ren, you don't need to know who I am. Hand over Mu to me, and I'll let you go. The man in black said in a deep voice. In his tone, it seemed that he had no intention of fighting with Su Chen. I brought Mu out, why should I give him to you? Su Chen looked at the man in black and said coldly. The aura on the other party did not give him much sense of oppression, so he did not escape immediately. Instead, he wanted to fight with the other party, to see who the other party was. Su Chen knew this person without thinking. They should be the people who were calculating the leader of the Shan Gate. It seems that I can only kill you first, and then take Mu away. While the man in black was speaking, his figure suddenly shot towards Su Chen. He raised his palm, and a murderous aura appeared in the other party's palm. As soon as he struck, he showed violent power, as if he wanted to kill Su Chen with one palm. As the palm attacked, Su Chen's eyes showed a trace of sneer, and he clenched his palm into a fist and punched out. The ki on his fist surged, and touched the palm of the opponent. A sound of ki explosion broke out at the place where they intersected. A wave of ki formed a heat flow and spread out in all directions. Su Chen and the man took a step back slightly. Your strength. After the attack, the black-robed man looked at the other party with a concentrated look. He felt that he had underestimated the other party. With this little strength, you still want to kill me? I really don't know where you get the confidence from. After the attack, Su Chen stepped on the ground and rushed out suddenly. In an instant, he punched out 3 punches, and each punch had a layer of ki. The ki wave rolled towards the opponent. The black-robed man sensed this ki. His face changed, raised his palm, and the ki in his body surged. He slapped out with one palm, trying to take Su Chen's punch. Boom. The palm and fist collided. This time the man in black was shocked and flew backwards. But at this moment, a sword light suddenly attacked from the dark. The sword light was cold, and it went to Su Chen's back at an extremely fast speed. Su Chen, who was shocked back by the man who slapped him, had a stream of ki flowing out of his body, and his muscles instantly condensed. The opponent attacked with a sword, hitting the ki. Seeing this, the opponent's internal breath surged, penetrated the ki, and fell on the golden silkworm armor that Su Chen had just obtained, and could not go any further. At this moment, Su Chen grabbed the opponent's longsword with his backhand. Then he exerted force and directly grabbed the opponent to himself. The man who attacked was grabbed by this force, and his body couldn't help but lean forward. But he reacted quickly. He instantly abandoned the sword. His figure retreated. But at this time, a knife appeared in Su Chen's hand. It was the Xiao knife that he had strengthened. The knife light came out of the sheath, and then cut it down. The attacker immediately slapped out his palm, trying to block the knife with his ki, but the Xiao knife in Su Chen's hand cut through the ki. The attacker only felt a flash of knife light in front of him. Then a blood mark appeared between his eyebrows. He reached out and touched the blood mark unconsciously. With a look of disbelief on his face, his body fell to the ground with a plop. Over there. The black-clothed man who had attacked earlier saw Su Chen kill his accomplice with a knife. His face changed, and he turned around, and was about to escape. But at this moment, a figure appeared in front of him, and then there was a continuous drizzle in his eyes. Before he could feel the drizzle properly, a blood mark appeared on his neck, and blood flowed out. The black-robed man tried his best to cover his throat. He wanted to stop the blood from flowing from his throat, but he couldn't stop it, and his body fell to the ground, with a look of unwillingness in his eyes. The two were killed, and Su Chen stepped forward to unveil the two. His eyes condensed slightly. Su Chen actually knew who these two people were. The black-robed man who attacked first was an elder from Xianluo Peak, and the one who attacked him with a sword was an elder from Xianqi Peak. Su Chen looked at the two men, and he felt that the situation in Shangate was a bit serious. He left quickly without staying. As for whether the unconscious Kan Mu would be in trouble, it was not within his consideration. He had to go back and think carefully about whether he could gain some benefits from the turmoil in Shangate. Of course, the two dead people reminded Su Chen of the matter of Changhan Palace. Not long after Su Chen left, some people appeared by the stream, led by Mu Leo, who had talked with Kan Mu in the courtyard before. When he saw Kan Mu lying on the ground, he immediately stepped forward and checked Kan Mu's breath, and then he breathed a sigh of relief. He woke Kan Mu up. When Kan Mu woke up and saw that it was Mu Leo, he took a deep breath. At this time, a man in tight clothes followed him and said, "Mu Leo, the two dead are Kao Zeng from Xianqi Peak and Wei Kiang Tong from Xianluo Peak." "Young master, what happened after I left?" asked the old man in a deep voice. Kan Mu informed the old man of what happened later. As for the appearance of the two men in black, he really didn't know. "Young master, that man may not be the one we are looking for, but these two are," said the old man in a deep voice. "Let's go back first and bring the bodies of the two back secretly. Hand it over to the Great Elder and let the Great Elder arrange it. There are also two elders from Xianqi Peak and Xianluo Peak, which means that our opponents have infiltrated deeply. We must be careful," Kan Mu said in a deep voice. While speaking, he was preparing to leave here. This time he was ambushed and captured by someone in Shangate. If the other party had not intended to kill him, he might have died long ago. Thinking of this, he was scared. At this time, in Su Chen's courtyard, he passed some of the situations in Shangate to Jinfeng Xiao Tower. He believed that someone would definitely want to buy this news. And on the side of Jinfeng Xiao Tower, Bei Chaofei also passed his guest letter to Su Chen. Golden plum bottle as in Qinglan Temple. Su Chen's eyes condensed. Su Hao believed Bei Chaofei's guess. Now Bei Chaofei has much more information about Lingnan County than him. At this time, Qi Yulinger came to Su Chen. "Su Chen, something happened. You should go to the branch hall quickly. The body of Elder Bao has just been sent from the main peak. The lady asked you to go over," Qi Yulinger said when she saw Su Chen. "You said that the body of Elder Bao was sent from the main peak. Could it be that Elder Bao went to avenge his master and was killed by the people from the main peak?" Su Chen couldn't help asking. "I don't know about this. You go to the main hall first." Qi Yulinger shook her head. When Su Chen came to the main hall of Xianluo Peak, the bodies surrounded in the inner hall of Xianluo Peak were placed in the middle of the hall. In addition to Mirren Qingshan, there were 10 elders of Xianluo Peak in the hall. He cut Elder Bao in half with one knife. This man's knife skills are very domineering and sharp. An elder said, "The opponent's swordsmanship is not only domineering and sharp, but also gentle and drizzling." The body of Kao Zeng sent to Xianqi Peak from the main peak was killed by someone cutting his throat. Judging from the knife marks, it was the same person. Another elder said. Su Chen entered the hall and stood behind several people without saying a word. He killed this Wei Tong. He knew clearly what kind of scars on his body, so there was no need to investigate. Chapter 140 Kan Mu asks the Qinglang Society to kill someone. After Su Chen came in, the people in the hall just glanced at him and didn't care. Just after being accepted as a disciple by the Peak Master, the Peak Master was seriously injured, which made people look down on Su Chen. Seeing Su Chen coming in, Mirren Qingshan waved her hand and asked Su Chen to stand beside her. "Elders, this is Master's new disciple Su Chen." Master, let me and Su Chen take charge of Cheyenne Luo Peak temporarily, and I need the help of several elders. Junior brother Su, these elders are the elders that master trusts the most, Mirren Chen said. Su Chen, who was beside her, was slightly surprised and couldn't help but glance at Mirren Chen. He knew that this should be Mirren Chen's idea. He bowed to the elders in the hall and said, "Hello, elders." Several elders also bowed slightly to Su Chen at the same time. Mu Xiaonan has been in charge of Cheyenne Luo Peak for many years, and he must have his own people in Cheyenne Luo Peak. These people are Mirren, Su Chen. The Peak Master is now seriously injured by the headmaster, and there is another incident of Wiki Tong assassinating the young headmaster. Now the young headmaster asked us to give an explanation. How to do this? Said an old man with grey hair. Mirren Chen did not reply, but looked at Su Chen. This was to let Su Chen answer the old man's words. When I came, I heard that an elder also died in Cheyenne Peak, and was killed together with Elder Bao. This Elder Bao should not attack the young headmaster for the sake of the Peak Master, so someone must have planned it. We should now focus on investigating Wiki Tong to see if we can find out anything. As for the young headmaster, we don't need to explain to him for the time being. The young headmaster is just the young headmaster, not the headmaster, Su Chen said. In his tone, he did not take the young headmaster Kan Mu to heart. Mirren Chen, who was beside him, had a strange look in her eyes. She did not expect Su Chen to say such a thing. There was an unformed momentum in his tone. Su Chen has recently drawn some masters. These masters all serve him as their master. This makes Su Chen form a momentum. Moreover, his own strength has skyrocketed, which makes him more confident. Combining these 2 points, Su Chen's momentum will gradually become stronger. When several elders heard Su Chen's words, their eyes lit up. Let's investigate Wuitang now. As for whether we should contact Cheyenne Peak, another middle-aged man asked. Cheyenne Peak also has problems. We don't know who has problems, so we won't contact them for the time being. Let's find out the situation of Cheyenne Luo Peak first, Su Chen said. Then let's investigate Wuitang first. After several elders saluted Su Chen and Mirren Chen, they left the hall. After several elders left, Mirren Chen said to Su Chen, "You did better than I thought just now. I still underestimated you a little. It's mainly because my senior sister is by my side that I had such courage," Su Chen said flatteringly. Hearing Su Chen's words, Mirren Chen looked at Su Chen with a smile in his eyes. "Come and see the body of Wei Bao Tong." After saying that, he took Su Chen to the body of Wei Bao Tong. From the scars, Wei Bao Tong was killed by a knife. The opponent's knife was sharp, and the knife was not an ordinary item. I guess it may have reached the weapon level, Mirren Chen said. Hearing this, Su Chen's eyes condensed. "Senior sister, do you mean that the opponent's weapon may have reached the weapon level?" When speaking, Su Chen's heart trembled. From the scars, Mirren Chen could tell that it was caused by a weapon level weapon, which meant that the opponent might have a weapon level weapon. It should be. Before I came, I also went to see the injury of Elder Cheyenne Chifeng. The sharp blade broke through the key and cut his throat and died. It can only be done by a weapon level weapon infused with key. Of course, the person who shot it is also very powerful. They don't even have a chance to escape. Mirren Chen continued. Is there such a master beside the young master? Su Chen couldn't help asking. It shouldn't be. If there was, those people wouldn't be able to capture the young master. Mirren Chen shook his head and said, if you go to the master peak to investigate, what clues are there? Senior sister, I actually found out something. Su Chen said softly. I bribed a clerk in the young master's courtyard and got a piece of news from him, but the news was a little unbelievable. Su Chen said. Pay money to bribe the clerk. Hearing this, Mirren Chen was a little surprised. What did you find out? I found out that he accidentally heard the young master say that the master was controlled by someone, so he attacked the master. Su Chen said in a deep voice. I feel that this news is a little unlikely. How could the master be controlled by someone? After Su Chen finished speaking, he shook his head. But after listening to Su Chen's words, Mirren Chen showed a thoughtful look. Such important information, you bought it with money. Mirren Chen looked at Su Chen while thinking. Sister, of course I bought it with money. There is nothing in this world that cannot be bought with money. If you can't buy it, it just means that you didn't spend enough money. Su Chen said seriously. Looking at Su Chen, King Chen recalled the meaning of his words. He nodded. You are right. By the way, Master has been in seclusion to recover from his injuries. This time the injury is very serious. It is estimated that he will not be able to come out for a while. You should pay more attention to the recent affairs of Qianluo Peak. Maybe when Master comes out of seclusion, he will appoint you as the young Master of the Peak. King Chen said. Sister, you are joking. I have senior brothers and sisters above me. How can I become the young Master of the Peak? Sister, don't worry, I know myself, and of course I will not be lazy. I will do my best to help you. Su Chen immediately expressed his attitude. Junior brother, I'm not asking you to help me. You took my token and you know I won't be in Qianluo Peak for long. Once I break through the soul refining realm, I will leave Shan Gate. As for my senior brother and junior sister, they are all wandering outside. Whether they can come back is another matter. If they can't come back in the near future, I will help you take the position of the young Peak Master before I leave. Of course, you also need to pay something for my help in taking the position of the young Peak Master. We'll talk about this after we solve the problem of the siege. King Chen didn't give Su Chen a chance to speak and finished his words in one breath. Senior sister, you have finished talking. I have nothing to say. Su Chen waved his hand. At this time, Shan Gate, the residence of the young Master Qian Mu. Some disciples and guards have appeared outside the residence. Qian Mu's face was extremely gloomy. He now knew that he should have been tricked by the previous person. He said something he shouldn't have said. Of course, he actually had to thank the other party. If it weren't for the other party, he might have died this time. Those two people didn't come to get information from him. They should come to kill him. Thinking of this, he was terrified. What is the Great Elder going to do? Qian Mu asked. The Great Elder has been refusing. He said he would wait until the headmaster comes out of retreat. Mu Lao beside him said in a deep voice. Wait for my father to come out of retreat. What does the Great Elder want to do? Mu Lao, do you think this matter is related to the Great Elder? Qian Mu said in a deep voice. I can't guess. And young master, the Great Elder has the most authority in Shanman now, so we can only wait. Mu Lao shook his head. Chapter 141 Jing Wuming personally went to Shanman. Wait, someone is trying to kill me. How can I wait? Since the Great Elder is not doing anything, then there is no need for us to keep him. The Qinglang society in the county is now very powerful. I believe we can get rid of him. Qian Mu's eyes flashed with murderous intent. This crisis made him feel that he must seize power. The obstacle of the Great Elder must be eliminated. Mu Lao, who was below him, sighed in his heart. He understood Qian Mu's thoughts. But killing the Great Elder is not a small matter. Should I ask the headmaster about this matter? Mu Lao said. I can't contact my father for the time being. If I can contact my father, then my father can directly order the Great Elder to investigate. Qian Mu shook his head. I have made up my mind about this matter. You go down the mountain secretly and make sure not to reveal your identity. Contact the people of the Qinglang society to kill the Great Elder. Qian Mu said. Subordinates, I will go down the mountain late at night. Mu Lao said, after thinking for a moment. It is indeed like the young headmaster. If the headmaster can contact, then he can directly order the Great Elder. Qian Mu nodded. By the way, send someone to keep an eye on Qianluo Peak and Qianqi Peak, and urge them to find out the matter as soon as possible. I will live in the secret room for the next 2 days. Come to the secret room to find me, if you have anything. Qian Mu said, and headed towards the backyard. In a wing room in the backyard, Qian Mu opened a secret room and stepped in. Mu Lao did not follow him, turned around and left, returning to the hall. Qian Mu was kidnapped and almost killed this time. This also made Mu Lao feel the urgency of the matter. At this time, in Lingnan County, something happened in Shanman, and it was also sent out as news by Jinfeng Xi Lao. Once this news was sent out, it quickly spread throughout Lingnan County. The prestige of the head of Shanman instantly fell to the bottom. Someone controlled his mind, and the head of a sect injured the deputy head of the sect. This is a big news. As the news spread, the prestige of the head of Shanman also fell rapidly. Previously, Frostleaf organized a stronghold. A figure wearing a cloak appeared. After this figure appeared, a man wrapped in a black robe appeared 5 feet in front of the figure. Who do you want to kill? The man in black said. Kill the great elder of Shanman Yan Qian Chao. 50,000 taels of silver. Pay first. Hearing the words of the man in black, the man under the cloak was slightly surprised. He didn't expect that the great elder of Shanman, with such an identity, was already on the list of the Qinglang Society. Most assassin organizations have targets that they don't kill. For example, the previous Frostleaf organization would not touch some high-ranking figures of major forces, lest they be found and slaughtered. But now that he had just announced his name, the other party directly asked for a reward, which meant that the other party did not take Shanman seriously. There was a kind of unhappiness in his heart, but he couldn't vent it. This is a 50,000 tael silver note. I want you to kill Yan Qian Chao within 3 days. The figure took out the silver note from his arms, put it on the ground, and then exited the cave. After the other party left, the man in black raised his hand and sucked the silver note into his palm. Turning around. Frostleaf Organization. Jing Wuming sat on the main chair. His eyes were calm. Below him, Mu Hongxiang also stood in the hall. Sir, I just received a mission to assassinate the great elder of Shanman. Mu Hongxiang bowed and said. The great elder of Shanman, Yan Qian Chao, is in the late stage of soul refining. I didn't expect someone to pay for his life. Jing Wuming said softly. You can't complete this mission. I will personally get rid of this great elder of Shanman. Jing Wuming said. While speaking, he stood up from the main chair and left with a long sword. After Jing Wuming left, a person walked in from outside the hall. Chief, people from several other assassin organizations contacted me and wanted to meet with you, the leader, to deal with the current situation. The man said. Deal with the situation in front of you? Mu Hongxiang's eyes condensed. What situation do they want to deal with? Chief, of course it's about us being oppressed by the Qinglang Society. The outside world is saying that the Qinglang Society is making us scapegoats. We can only survive if we defeat the Qinglang Society. The person who came in said. But when he finished speaking, a long sword pierced his chest without him feeling anything. Chief, you. The man didn't expect Mu Hongxiang to attack him. Do you think the helmsman and the others care about us? In the eyes of the helmsman, we are like ants, and we are not needed as scapegoats at all. Of course I'll kill you, mainly because you didn't discuss it with me and contacted other organizations without authorization. If you want to die, I'll grant you your wish. Mu Hongxiang drew back her long sword. Her eyes were calm. As the leader of a killer organization, Mu Hongxiang was ruthless. Of course, she also saw through the heart. What's more, she felt that she was on a big ship, and this ship was very scary. She didn't want to get off the ship. The Green Dragon Society dared to kill the young Marquis Helian Chunshu and the commander of the Northern Pacification Division of Lingnan County. 3 masters appeared. These people dared to take action, which shows that they have the confidence. Otherwise, there would be no need to announce the names, and they could just kill in private. What is the purpose of the name? Reputation. To make the Green Dragon Society famous. Even the young Marquis and Yanyu dared to be killed, so who in Lingnan County can't be killed? Since this incident, they have received more and more tasks and the benefits have become greater and greater. This is something she didn't dare to think about before. This matter still needs to be reported to the helmsman. Mu Hongxiang thought in her heart. Another place. Inside the cave. Su Chen was practicing cross-legged. As for the investigation of the encirclement, he just had to wait for the results. Brother Su. A voice came from outside the cave. Su Chen's expression froze. Walking out of the cave, there were miscellaneous disciples standing outside the cave, bowing to Su Chen. Come in. Su Chen waved his hand. This is a secret letter from down the mountain. After the disciple came in, he took out a secret letter and gave it to Su Chen, then left the cave. Su Chen opened the secret letter and took a look at the contents. There are 3 things in the secret letter. The first thing is that the news that the head of the Shan sect was controlled by someone and injured the master of Xianluo Peak has spread all over Lingnan County. The second thing is that someone asked the Qinglang Society to kill the Shan sect's great elder Yin Xian Chao. Jing Wuming has personally come to the Shan sect to attack Yin Xian Chao. The third thing is that the Jinfeng Xiao Tower has found out that the client is Mu Liao, who is next to the young head of the Shan sect. After reading the secret letter in his hand, Su Chen turned on the oil lamp in the cave and burned the secret letter directly. This Kan Mu wants to attack Yin Xian Chao. Did he discover something? Su Chen was puzzled and said softly, "The Great Elder is the strongest person in the Shan sect besides the head. At this time, if Kan Mu killed Yin Xian Chao, wouldn't this cause unrest in Shanmen?" What was Kan Mu thinking? Su Chen didn't understand Kan Mu's thoughts. "Let's see what happens tomorrow," Su Chen said afterwards. Jing Wuming took action, and the possibility of the Great Elder surviving was very small. Chapter 140 to Tantric Dynamics, County Government Changes. Lingnan Prefecture. In the residence of the right provincial government historian Zhe Xian'an, in a secret room, Zhe Xian'an, dressed in a tight suit, looked at the man in black in front of him and said, "Why didn't Qin Xianchen kill Mu Xian'an? Sir, I don't know why Qin Xianchen suddenly woke up at the last moment, resulting in the failure to complete the final blow." The man in black said in a deep voice, "That old guy is not dead, so it is difficult for you to control the Shan Gate. What do you want to do now?" Zhe Xian'an looked at the man in black and said, "Qin Xianchen is in seclusion, probably to recover his mind, and Mu Xian'an is in seclusion, because he is seriously injured. At this time, as long as we kill Qin Mu, we can legitimately take charge of the Shan Gate." The man in black said, "Then kill Qin Mu." "Can't you kill Qin Mu?" Zhe Xian'an asked in a deep voice. "Qin Mu was kidnapped, and we followed him, but in the end our people were killed by the enemy. The enemy's attack was fierce. Judging from the wound, he is a knife expert. It should not be a master from our Shan sect. The enemy kidnapped Qin Mu, and probably wanted to know something from him. That person should know about our existence." The black-robed man spoke. "Another person, and we don't know who the other person is? You Shan sect just let people come and go freely?" Zhe Xian'an looked at the other person and said. The black-robed man was speechless at this time. "You came to me. What do you want me to do? You should know that your focus now is to unite with other forces to destroy Lingayu Sword Sect." Zhe Xian'an said. "Originally, we wanted Qin Xianchen to severely injure Mu Xian'an, so as to force Qin Xianchen to withdraw from the position of the head of the sect, and the elder would take over the position of the head of the sect temporarily. In this way, we can cooperate with you when we attack Lingayu Sword Sect. But I didn't expect such a change. I came here to ask you to send someone to kill Qin Mu." The man in black said. "Kill Qin Mu? Qin Mu should have someone guarding him at this time. It would be difficult to kill him in Shan sect," Zhe Xian'an said. "Shan sect has been able to stand in Lingnan County for so many years. If it didn't have a little foundation, it would have been swallowed up by others long ago. In the near future, I need to retreat and break through. You still need to find a way to do this. But you can go to Madame Jinhua for help and ask her to help you prepare some poison. It will be easy to get rid of Qin Mu," Zhe Xian'an said, and gave the other party a token. The man in black took the token, and a hint of joy flashed in his eyes. "Thank you, sir. Quickly solve the matter of Shanman. The matter of Lingayu Sword Sect cannot be delayed. The murder of Yan Yu of the Northern Pacification Office will involve many things in the future. It's better to get rid of him as soon as possible," Zhe Xian'an said in a deep voice. "Don't worry, sir. I will deal with Qin Mu tomorrow." The man in black bowed and left the secret room. In Lingnan County, in a wing room of Shangzhen Zen Temple, Master Kang He, wearing a cassock, looked solemn. In front of him was a white-bearded old monk, the abbot of Shangzhen Zen Temple, Master Kangwen. He was of the same generation as Master Kang He. "Brother, Yan Yu has been killed now. If you want to stop other forces from dealing with Lingayu Sword Sect, there is only one way. That is to let Qinglang Temple issue a Buddhist Zen order to prohibit them from taking action against Lingayu Sword Sect." Monk Kangwen said. "No, now is not the time to issue a Buddhist order. We must find a way to restrain them in the name of the court. If this fails, we can issue an order. In that case, Qinglang Temple can suppress them and massacre them." Let them know that the 9 northern counties are dominated by our tantric Buddhism. Master Kang He said. The right governor is in seclusion for cultivation. The county government does not see us. Now only the left governor is left among the local forces. But this person is shrewd and calculating. It is difficult to get him to come forward to help us. Monk Kangwan said in a deep voice. It's nothing more than benefits. You go to see him and tell him that I, Qinglang Temple, am willing to give him 3 places to enter the temple, plus a baptism in Qinglang Pool. Kang He said. This. Hearing this, Kangwan showed a hint of surprise on his face. Don't worry about these. Now someone in the capital wants to attack my Buddhist sect. There is no wave in the Zen sect for the time being. But for my tantric sect, there is now a point that can be pried in Lingnan County. If this point is expanded, will it affect the entire northern 9 counties? By the way, I asked you to investigate the Qinglang Society. How is the investigation going? Kang He asked afterwards. No clues were found. Now they only have 2 helmsmen, and the others have not appeared. Their team is mainly some previous killer organizations. If you want to know their details, I'm afraid you need to find a breakthrough from these 2 people. Kang Wen said in a deep voice. This Qinglang Society must be paid attention to. My Qinglang Temple is named after Qinglang, and they also changed their name to Qinglang. Maybe they came for our Qinglang Temple. Kang He said with a frown. I'll keep an eye on it and find out their details as soon as possible. Kang Wen replied. Okay, you go to see the right governor first. I will lead the holy monk to Lingayu Sword sect to take charge. Kang He said. The situation is getting more and more serious now. He needs to be prepared for any eventuality. By the way, you also need to pay attention to Shanman. Kian Chen injured Mu Shianan for the Lingayu Sword sect. Something is a bit strange. I guess there may be changes in Shanman in the near future. You should pay attention. Kang He said again. Kang Wen nodded. There have been too many things happening in Lingnan County recently, and he is a little overwhelmed. Inside Shanman, Su Chen was in his cave and did not go out. Jing Wuming went up the mountain to kill the elder in person, although he believed in Jing Wuming's strength. But this is Shanman. Sometimes you can't think of Shanman as simple. He still has to pay attention. Of course, he also received 2 messages today. A person from the Tantric Qinglang Temple came to Lingnan County as if to stop other forces from taking action against Lingayu Sword sect. The other thing is that King Qing Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower has contacted the ghost domain outside the Great Wall. The ghost domain wants to obtain a secret mine of Zitan Palace outside the Great Wall. Secret ore is a very strange ore. When making weapons, adding this ore can change the weapons. Not only will they be sharper, but they may also produce weapon level weapons. This is one of the main sources of income for the Red Sand Palace. Now the ghost domain has set its sights on this secret mine and is also working with the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower in Qingcheng. Perhaps it is because of the Xian'an pavilion behind the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower. It's just that the ghost domain has always been ruthless in doing things, so we still need to pay attention. However, this matter was contacted by Dugu Wudi. Dugu Wudi is a great hero. It may be difficult for the ghost domain to plot against him. Su Chen thought to himself. Dugu Wudi is the leader of the invincible sect in the Xian'an transformation, and he has always wanted to unify the martial arts world. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 143 Right-handed sword, left-handed sword, defeat, or death. Late at night, in the cave of the Great Elder of Shan sect, the Great Elder had white hair but bright eyes, staring at the remaining chess in front of him. Of course, he was playing chess alone. He had no opponent, because his opponents were now in seclusion. Next to him, there was a middle-aged man in green clothes. The man's face was withered, and his palms were also withered. It seemed that he had practiced some kind of martial arts. Brother, I have obtained the 7-step heartbreaking powder from Madame Jinhe. As long as it is ignited in Kian Mu's room, he will definitely die, the man in green said. From the words, it can be known that this man in green is the person who met with the right governor Zaishianan before. Using poison is indeed a good idea. At that time, we can also push the matter to Madame Jinhua. The great elder said softly. Yes, even if they know, they dare not go to the 10,000 Poison Valley to confront Madame Jinhua. The man in green said. But we still need to pay attention to that sword master. He killed 2 of us with 2 swords. His strength is not simple. Such a master is hiding in Arshan Gate. His intentions may be great. We must find him out. The elder's eyes flashed coldly. An unknown master appeared, and it was impossible not to pay attention to him. Brother, is it possible that someone beside Mirren Chen did it? There are only people beside her in Shangate. We don't know. The man in green said. No, that person is only responsible for protecting Mirren Chen's safety, and will not help her kill people. There is no doubt about this. And Mirren Chen's identity is not ordinary. Don't contact her, if you can avoid it. The elder said. And you haven't returned to Xianqi Peak today. You still need to go back, to deal with the body. Bury the person, as soon as possible. The elder said afterwards. Yes, brother, I'll go back first. The man in green bowed and left. After the man left, the cave returned to silence. The elder continued to play chess alone. After an unknown amount of time, the elder paused slightly, his eyes fixed. He looked towards the direction of the cave in trance. Friend, what's the matter with you coming here late at night? The elder said. Hearing the elder's voice, a figure slowly walked out of the cave in trance. It was Jing Wuming who came. Seeing Jing Wuming, the elder's face fixed. Death-like sword energy. It seems that you are here to kill me. I don't know how to address you. The elder looked at Jing Wuming and said. Kinglan Club Jing Wuming. Someone paid to buy your life, so I came. Jing Wuming looked at the elder and said. As he spoke, the sword intent instantly burst out from his body, a cold sword intent. It instantly swept towards the elder. When the elder heard Jing Wuming's words, his eyes turned cold, and a mountain-like energy burst out from his body. The energy burst out, and the powerful energy shook all the bluestone steps around the ground away. The elder raised his hand and the gravel on the ground instantly flew towards Jing Wuming like arrows. Jing Wuming swung the long sword in his hand and the flying gravel turned into powder under the sword energy. At this moment, the elder soared into the air. He slapped his palm. Mountain and river shocking palm. As his palm slapped, a force of ki emerged like a surging wave. Ki has the power of waves, and there is an invisible pressure in the waves. This pressure makes people bear a certain gravity invisibly. Jing Wuming's sword energy seemed to be suppressed. The speed of the sword was vaguely affected. Your strength is good, but under the suppression of my ki, you can't break through faster, and can't kill me at all. Tell me who asked you to kill me, and I may spare your life. The elder was arrogant and spoke in a deep tone. He didn't look old at all. The Shan sect's Shangong becomes stronger the longer one practices it, and it can also extend one's lifespan. Jing Wuming ignored the other person's words, and continued to step forward. The sword energy continued to burst out from his right hand, and the ki energy would be weakened every time the sword tip touched a place. Seeing this, the elder's eyes burst into a cold light, and he raised his palm, and his 5 fingers were like hooks, grabbing towards Jing Wuming's head. The ki energy flowed between the 5 fingers, tearing the air. The long sword in Jing Wuming's hand slashed out, and slashed at the 5 fingers. The elder's palm suddenly changed, and he grabbed Jing Wuming's long sword directly. Jing Wuming was a master of swordsmanship, and his speed was extremely fast. As long as he grabbed his sword, he could crush Jing Wuming and capture him. As for why Jing Wuming was captured, it was not to find out who wanted to kill him, but to put the blame on Kan Mu. Let it become that Kan Mu asked the people of the Qinglang society to kill him. The ki energy in the palm formed a whirlwind, suppressing the long sword stabbed by Jing Wuming. Jing Wuming only felt the sword in his hand sink. His eyes changed slightly. He instantly pulled back the long sword. The elder's figure moved even further, and the mountain and river energy in his body instantly surged, forming a suppressing vortex that rushed towards Jing Wuming. He wanted to suppress Jing Wuming's figure. Jing Wuming's figure suddenly paused slightly under the suppression of the opponent's energy, and the long sword in his hand seemed to slip out of his hand instantly. But at the moment of slipping out of his hand, he was caught by his left hand. HMPH. Seeing this, the elder slapped Jing Wuming with a palm. A person with a right hand sword, practiced to such a level, now his right hand was suppressed by himself. Switching to an unfamiliar left hand, it was a chance to take him down. The figure approached, the palm penetrated the air, and quickly went to Jing Wuming's chest. At this moment, Jing Wuming's left hand instantly stabbed out, penetrating the suppression of the energy, and the elder who made the move only saw a flash of silver light. He knew something bad was going to happen. But he was too late to dodge, and his heart was stabbed by the opponent's sword. He retreated quickly, holding his heart, blood flowing from his fingertips. You made me ignore your left hand. Your left hand is faster than your right hand. The elder looked at the other party in surprise. There was reluctance in his expression. If he hadn't been careless, he would have been confident that he could kill Jing Wuming. But the loser has no chance to say such words. Losing is losing. Losing means death. The elder's body fell directly on the ground. Jing Wuming took a look at the body lying on the ground, stepped forward, cut off the other's head, and put it aside. Then he left quickly. The previous battle consumed too much of his energy. If someone else came, he might not be able to leave Shanmen. Of course, it was fortunate that the elder of Shanmen chose an independent cave. If he lived in the courtyard, it would be difficult for him to kill the other party like this. The next day, the news that the elder was killed quickly spread throughout Shanmen. Su Chen in the courtyard heard the news. His eyes lit up. Jing Wuming killed the great elder last night. Now that the great elder is dead, what will become of Shanmen? Su Chen quickly stood up and went to see Mirren King Chen. Now he is the disciple of the peak master of Xianluo Peak of Shanmen. The unrest in Shanmen is very beneficial to him. Perhaps he can gain a lot of benefits. Chapter 144, County Magistrate Wen Yifeng, the 9th Prince in Power. County Government. In a dark secret room, County Magistrate Wen Yifeng sat there. The night can make people's hearts more quiet. It can also sort out more things. Lingnan County is a little chaotic, but it was not provoked by them. This is a little different from what expected. Golden Wind and Rain Tower, Qinglang Society, Qinglang Society. He said Qinglang Society twice. Are you going to deal with Qinglang Temple? Wen Yifeng thought in his heart. At this time, a figure appeared outside the secret room, without making a sound, but Wen Yifeng had heard his voice inside the secret room. What's the matter? Sir, the 3rd prince's people have arrived, and are in the living room. The person replied. Okay, I know. Wen Yifeng stood up, and opened the door while speaking. The sunlight shone on his body, as if it was sucked into his body. He looked up at the sky, and turned to the direction of the living room. In the living room, a man in a brocade robe was sitting, drinking tea, and didn't seem to care that he was neglected. Perhaps this man in brocade robes was very familiar with Wen Yifeng, and knew his habits. You are still the same. You like to think in that dark space, the visitor said, when he saw Wen Yifeng stepping in. Lingnan County has been a bit chaotic recently, which is within my expectations. I have to think about how to deal with this matter. Brother Lu Chen, you should also pay attention to the information of Lingnan County. I wonder if you can give me some advice. Wen Yifeng sat down next to him and said, are you talking about Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower and Qinglang Club? The man called Lu Chen said. Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower is relatively stable, mainly Qinglang Club, Wen Yifeng said. This Qinglang Club. First, they killed the young Marquis Helion, and then killed Yan Yu of the Northern Pacification Division. They are a bit unscrupulous. The visitor said so when he heard Wen Yifeng mention Qinglang Club. Are you afraid that they will affect the plan of the 3rd prince? Then the visitor said with a serious face. Yes, now we are conspiring to eliminate the Buddhist Tantric sect in Lingnan County, and weaken the power of the national teacher, so that the eldest prince will lose some of his help, destroy his becoming the crown prince, and let the situation of the 9 princes ruling continue. This Qinglang Society is killing so much, I'm afraid that it indirectly helps the Tantric sect, Wen Yifeng said. Qinglang Society is a bit weird, but if they are too unscrupulous, then we should destroy them first. As the man spoke, a trace of murderous intent flashed in his eyes. We can't do it. As the saying goes, a fierce dragon can't cross the river. The other party dared to intervene at this time. It must be not simple. We must be cautious. Wen Yifeng said. At this time, an old man who looked like a butler came in, saluted Wen Yifeng and the man in brocade robes, and came to Wen Yifeng's ear and whispered something. Wen Yifeng narrowed his eyes and waved his hand to let the other party leave. What happened? The man in brocade robes, Lu Chen, said. We were talking about the Qinglang Society just now. Now it's about him. The people of the Qinglang Society killed the Great Elder of the Shan sect last night. The Great Elder has been controlled by us. Although Wen Yifen's face was calm, his tone became cold. The Shan sect is one of the main forces against the Lingyu sword sect. How could such a change happen? Lu Chen asked in a deep voice. They underestimated Qin Chen of the Shan sect. The mind control technique failed at the last moment, causing the plan to fail. But who asked the Qinglang Society to kill people? Wen Yifeng's fingers kept tapping the table. Whoever benefits the most in the Shan sect now is the one. The man in brocade robes took a sip of tea and said, that is the Shan sect's young master Qin Mu. This is the variable I'm worried about. Under normal circumstances, Qin Mu should not be able to do anything. With the Qinglang Society, as long as there is money, you can find someone to take action. It seems that there is time to restrict this Qinglang Society. Wen Yifeng said in a deep voice. An uncontrolled force has appeared. It must be paid attention to and restricted. Brother Lu Chen, let's go to my study and talk about the arrangements for the third prince. Wen Yifeng stopped pestering the Qinglang Society and stood up to invite people to the study. It seemed that he had something important to do. At this time, Shanman Qin Mu returned from the cave of the Great Elder. His originally worried face instantly became full of joy. Mu Leo, this Qinglang Society is really powerful. Since they killed the Great Elder in one night, did you see who killed the Great Elder from the wound? Qin Mu sat down and looked at Mu Leo and said, the one who killed the Great Elder was a sword master. Judging from the traces, it should be a sword master who used the left hand to strike the sword. The masters who appeared in the Qinglang Society now, Jing Wuming and A Fei, and Liu Shengyijian are all sword masters, but they did not use the left-handed sword. So it should be another person from the Qinglang Society. Mu Leo said in a deep voice. A person who practices right-handed sword hard and practices right-handed sword to a very fast level will definitely not have the mind to practice left-handed sword again. Moreover, the left-hand sword is more difficult to practice than the right-hand sword. It takes more time. So I don't think Jing Wuming and A Fei are the ones who made the move. Moreover, Jing Wuming and A Fei may not be able to kill the elder in a direct fight. Judging from the traces of the fight in the cave, the person who came was going to kill the elder directly. Once the elder dies, then this young master can legitimately take charge of the Mountain River sect. Qin Mu said. Mr. Mu, you go and arrange this matter and see who is willing to support me in taking power. Qin Mu ordered. Subordinates, go and arrange it right away. Mr. Mu nodded. At this time, in the Elder's Cave, Luoyui, the head of Cheyenne Chi Peak, looked at the separated head and the chest pierced by a sword. His face was gloomy. Qinglang Club, who invited you? His voice was a little hoarse. I was still discussing things with my senior brother last night, but now I can only see his body. There was also a young man in green clothes next to him, and his eyes were as sharp as an eagle. Master, this matter may be related to the young master. If the elder gets into trouble, only the young master will benefit. In this way, he can start to take charge of the Shan sect. The young man said. The young man was Luoyui's eldest disciple Gui Wuang. Hearing the words of the eldest disciple, Luoyui's eyes were gloomy. Don't talk nonsense about this matter. Luoyui said admonishingly. Please have someone sew up the elder's body and put it in the coffin. I will choose an auspicious day to bury him. Luoyui then ordered. Yes, master. The young man bowed and said. After arranging these, you go and invite the second and third elders to my Cheyenne Chi Peak. I want to discuss some things with them. After Luoyui made the arrangements, he turned around and left the cave. He wanted to go back and arrange how to kill Qin Mu. He originally wanted to kill Qin Mu last night, but he went back a little late last night and didn't take action. Now that things have changed, he will kill him today. If Qin Mu is killed, Qin Chen will not be able to remain in seclusion and will need to come out. Then we can directly force him to give up the position of headmaster. Chapter 145. Xiaopang discovers the cold pond. Qian Mu is poisoned to death. On the other side, Su Chen and Mirren Qingchen were on their way back to Xianluo Peak. Sister, it looks like our Shan sect is going to be in chaos. Su Chen said as he walked. It's going to be in chaos. Who do you think asked the people from the Qinglang Society to take action against the Great Elder? Mirren Qingchen looked at Su Chen and said, need I say more? It must be our young master. The master is in seclusion, and the Great Elder is in charge of Shan sect. He didn't investigate the news that the master was controlled by someone. He has been silent and not anxious to clarify the master's affairs. How can the young master not be anxious? When people are anxious, they seem to be a little impulsive in doing things. I think the young master won't live long. Su Chen said. He said everything he thought. Mirren Qingchen listened to Su Chen and was shocked. Su Chen gave her a very unusual feeling before, and today she was even more surprised. If she hadn't investigated Su Chen's background, she would have thought that Su Chen had changed. Could it be that his father's death stimulated him, made him stop hiding his weakness? Mirren Qingchen thought in his heart and said, junior brother, you surprised me again. I feel that now I can replace my master and pass on Xianluo Peak to you. Mirren said softly. It still needs training. Su Chen did not modestly say that he would not take over Xianluo Peak, but just said that it still needs training. Junior brother, except for your weaker strength at the moment, everything else is fully equipped. What do you think will happen to someone after Qian Mu's death? Mirren Qingchen was a little bit skeptical of Su Chen's meaning. Once Qian Mu died, the headmaster must come out of seclusion, but he was controlled by someone and injured the master, and this matter would ferment. At that time, someone would definitely use this to force him to withdraw from the position of headmaster. Su Chen continued. The two talked like this and returned to Xianluo Peak. Su Chen said goodbye to Mirren Qingchen and returned to his cave. He still had to check some news. Although he didn't ask about the affairs of the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower, the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower would still send him a copy of the important information. After Su Chen left, Kei behind them stepped forward and said, Miss, you want to train Su Chen as a successor of Xianluo Peak. Not just a successor, I hope he can become my spokesperson in Lingnan County. The changes in Lingnan County should be caused by people headed by my third brother, who are preparing to interfere with what my eldest brother does when he becomes the crown prince. Buddhism is one of the major forces supporting my eldest brother. They can't start with Zen Buddhism, so they can only break through from the Tantric Buddhism. Lingnan County is located in a remote area. It is also the location of the Tantric Buddhism, Qinglang Temple. As long as there is a problem with Qinglang Temple, there will be problems with the Tantric Buddhism in the 9 northern counties. The other two major forces in the 9 northern counties are only slightly worse than Qinglang Temple. They will not miss this opportunity. What's more, my 6th brother supports the Sword Alliance. In recent years, it has been growing and developing in the 9 northern counties. It will definitely take the opportunity to expand. It's just that I don't know where this Qinglang society came from. I'm not familiar with its style of doing things at all. Mirren Qingchen said. Miss, with such an opportunity, why is there no movement from the 4th master? Kei asked. I'm here, isn't it just to represent the 4th brother? The 4th brother and I are born of the same mother, Mirren Qingchen said. If Su Chen develops well in Lingnan County, I will recommend him to the 4th brother. Let's go. It depends on how fast he grows. The two of them entered the Xiangsu villa. Inside the Shan gate, it seemed a bit depressing. The elder died, the headmaster and the master of Xianluo Peak were injured and in seclusion. Now only the master of Xianqi Peak is left among the 3 peaks. The continuous occurrence of things made the disciples of the Shan Gate feel a sense of panic. In front of Su Chen's cave, a slightly fat figure was pacing back and forth. The fat man immediately stepped forward when he saw Su Chen. Big brother. The voice of the big brother was not ambiguous at all. It was the fat boy Zhu Bing who recognized Su Chen as his big brother before. Since recognizing Su Chen as his big brother last time, the fat boy has not come to Su Chen's side during this period of time. I don't know why he came to him today. Brother, this is the specialty GUI Lu I got from my hometown, and I brought it here for you to try. The little fat man was very familiar with people. He took the things and followed Su Chen into the cave. Brother, your cave is too simple. I will decorate it for you when I have time. The little fat man put the GUI Lu in his hand on the stone platform and said, "Why do you have time to find me today?" Su Chen asked with some confusion. Brother, I found a cold pond in the back mountain of Shan Gate. The cold pond is extremely cold. I think there are treasures in it. So didn't I come here to tell you? The little fat man said in a deep voice. Cold pond? Su Chen's mind moved. Yes, I found that place by accident. The fat man said. Really? Didn't you go down and take a look? Su Chen couldn't help asking. Brother, you also know that I'm a bit timid, not to mention that I tried the deep cold water in the pond. After my fingers entered, I felt frozen. I feel that one must have strength above the level of spirit refining and be able to control the ki with the mind before one can enter the cold pond. The fat man himself had innate strength and was able to exert ki, but he was unable to control it perfectly. After entering, if the ki disappeared, he would be frozen to death in it. Is that so? Su Chen's heart moved. Perhaps there would be some treasure in the cold pond. Let's go and have a look first. Su Chen said. The little fat man immediately took Su Chen out of the cave and headed towards the back mountain of Shan Gate. At this time, the residence of the young headmaster Qian Mu. Qian Mu calmed down his mood and thought of what Mu Leo said before, that his father asked him to go to the cold pond in the back mountain with the headmaster order. He took out the headmaster order from his arms. He planned to go to the cold pond secretly at night. At this time, a maid in purple clothes walked in from outside the hall with a teapot. Young headmaster, this is the tea that I just brewed. You can try it. The maid put the teacup on the table and brewed a cup of tea for Qian Mu. Qian Mu picked up the tea and smelled it. A fresh fragrance flowed out. He took a sip immediately. After the tea went into his stomach, Qian Mu's face flushed and his body seemed to spasm. His body stood up involuntarily, staring at the woman in purple with gloomy eyes. At this time, the purple-clothed woman quickly distanced herself from Qian Mu. You poisoned me. I want your life. Qian Mu immediately attacked and pounced on the other party. But the purple-clothed woman had good body skills and dodged one of Qian Mu's attacks. Qian Mu continued to chase after her. But this time he didn't take a few steps and half knelt on the ground. White foam flowed from the corners of his mouth and his eyes looked at the purple-clothed woman. You were hit by the 7-step heartbreaking powder. If you don't move, you still have a chance to survive. The purple-clothed woman said in a cold voice. Plop. When she finished speaking, Qian Mu fell directly to the ground. The purple-clothed woman stepped forward to check Qian Mu's breath and then quickly left the hall. Chapter 146. The Red Sandalwood Palace reappears. The 9 Nether Mysterious Yinstone. Judging from the situation just now, this purple-clothed woman should be someone that Luoyui had arranged to be by Qian Mu's side. Qian Mu was excited about the killing of the Great Elder before, but he didn't expect that he would follow in the footsteps of the Great Elder soon after. Qian Mu's death was not unjust. He was used to being the young master, and at this time, he had no sense of defense. His death was not unjust. Qian Mu's death was soon discovered and quickly spread throughout the Shan Gate. Xiangsu Villa. In the study, Miran King-Chen was looking at some letters in front of him. Outside, K-Wei walked in softly. Miss, Qian Mu is dead and died of the 7-step heartbreak powder. Mrs. Jinhua's 7-step heartbreak powder. This 7-step heartbreak powder is not so easy to obtain. Who is behind Luoyui? Qian Chen should come out next. Miran King-Chen said softly. Miss, there is one more thing. The 4th master sent a message saying that people from the Red Sandalwood Palace will come to Lingnan County to see you. K-Wei said afterwards. The people from the Rosewood Palace also want to intervene in the affairs of Lingnan County. It seems that Lingnan County will gather a lot of people, but who will be able to control Lingnan County in the end? Do you know which lineage of the Rosewood Palace is coming? Miran King-Chen asked. The messenger didn't say that. K-Wei shook her head. Then wait for them to arrive, and then let Su Chen meet them. Miran King-Chen said. Now in the capital, the fourth brother has not yet broken up with the people of the Buddhist sect, so it is not suitable for her to show up openly. Su Chen is not bad. He was born in the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower in Qingcheng. Although the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower has no relationship with the Rosewood Palace now, it was related in the past. So it is most appropriate for him to show up outside the county government, in a courtyard. Zihan Yu is listening to a report from a man in black. You mean Lu Chen, one of the aides of the third prince, has arrived in Lingnan County. Do you know who he met? Zihan Yu said in a deep voice. We only know that he left the capital and his whereabouts are unknown. We only know that his destination is Lingnan County, but we cannot track his whereabouts. The man in black replied. We must find out who this person is in contact with. There are only 3 people in Lingnan County who can contact him now. The county lord, the left and right governors, and investigate from the residences of these 3 people. Zihan Yu said. Yes. The man in black left quickly. What is happening in Lingnan County now is beyond our imagination. I feel it is going to be chaotic. Zihan Yu said with a frown. Someone is pushing it. I also found out that people from the Qinglang Temple went to the Lingayu Sword Sect. This means to protect the Lingayu Sword Sect. The Dragon Lady said. Could it be that the previous Yanyu wanted to lure out the Qinglang Temple, and these people's purpose is to deal with the Qinglang Temple? In the Great Zhao dynasty, the eldest prince's strength has broken through, and he wants to become the crown prince and end the situation of the 9 kings supervising the country. Buddhism is one of the supporting forces around the eldest prince. Could it be that the other princes weakened the strength of the Buddhist tantric sect, thereby affecting the entire Buddhist sect, and weakening the power around the eldest prince? Zihan Yu seemed to have figured out some things in an instant. Long Po, how is the investigation of the secret treasure going? Can you lock down the location of that thing? Not yet, but miss, do you think it is possible that the golden plum bottle obtained by Lingayu Sword Sect, or Qinglang Temple, came from the secret treasure? After all, what was in the secret treasure back then? No one knew except the emperor back then. The dragon woman said in a deep voice. Hearing this, Zihan Yu's expression condensed slightly. If this is the case, then they still have to go to Lingayu Sword Sect. On the other side, Su Chen and Xiaopang came to a remote canyon in the back mountain. The outer edge of the valley is covered with green vines. It looks like it grows on the mountain wall. Boss, the cold pond is in this valley, and these vines outside cover the entrance to the cave. ZH Yubing, who was speaking, pushed aside a vine in front of him, revealing a passage. How did you find this place? Su Chen looked at ZH Yubing in some confusion. When I was chasing a Cookie Martin, I saw it running in, so I followed it in. Fatty ZH Yubing said. Let's go in and take a look. While Su Chen was speaking, his mind actually roughly explored the situation behind the vines. Not finding anything special, he went in. After entering the vines, a cool feeling appeared. Boss, it's cool here. It gets a little cold after a while. ZH Yubing said as he walked in front. Soon, Su Chen sensed a chill, which eroded his skin, but was directly absorbed by Su Chen's left arm. Of course, this little chill could not affect Su Chen. After all, his blood and ki are strong now, and once he uses it, he will be as hot as the sun. The cold pond is over there. ZH Yubing pointed to a cold pond in front. Su Chen looked at the cold pond. His eyes moved slightly, and there was indeed a wave of cold air in the cold pond. At this time, his left arm was a little impulsive, as if it wanted to swallow up all the cold air in the cold pond. Su Chen showed joy on his face. He didn't expect to encounter such a thing. He came to the edge of the cold pond with the fat man, stretched out his left hand, and a cold air swept over, but it was all absorbed by his arm. Then a pure cold air poured into his body, forming a vortex of energy, and increasing the energy in his body. This can increase my strength. What should be in this cold pond? Su Chen thought to himself. But Su Chen stopped absorbing immediately. The cold air in the cold pond can help him, but if the cold air is too heavy, he will not be able to quickly convert the cold air into innate energy and keep it in his body. The fat man on the side saw Su Chen put his arm in it and then seemed to be in deep thought. There was no frost on the arm placed in the cold pond. The boss's strength is extraordinary. Fatty ZH Yubing couldn't help but admire in his heart. His palm entered the cold pond, and it was almost frozen into an ice sculpture in a short while. But Chen didn't feel anything when he put his arm in it. The strength gap is too big. The host found a Zuanine cold pond and was rewarded with a 9 nether Zuanine stone, which can absorb the cold air in the cold pond and then supply the host with it for cultivation. At this time, Chen got a hint. Zuanine cold pond, and rewarded me with the 9 nether Zuanine stone to absorb the cold air. Chen was delighted. Then the 9 nether Zuanine stone appeared in his palm, a smooth and black stone. Chen put the 9 nether Zuanine stone into the cold pond, and suddenly the cold air in the cold pond went crazy towards the 9 nether Zuanine stone. Zhubing, who was next to him, only saw a black stone appear in a Chen's hand. When he put the stone into the cold pond, he felt that the surrounding cold air seemed to dim instantly. As time passed, the cold air in the valley disappeared. Okay, we can go to the bottom of the cold pond now. Chen put away the Zuanine stone and then said to Zhubing. Zhubing came to the side of the cold pond, stretched out his hand to touch the cold pond, and found that the water in the cold pond was just a little cold. I didn't expect that you, boss, have such a treasure. Boss, you go down first, or I go down first. Zhubing looked at Chen and said, this cold pond is not small, let's go down together to see what's in it. Chen said. Okay. The fat man put some of the silver bills on his body outside and then looked at Chen. Chen's things were all in the storage ring, so there was nothing left outside. Let's go. The two entered the cold pond. Chapter 147 Tantric Relics, the Tripitaka of Life and Death, Dharma King Mahamati. The cold pond was very deep, but the air flowed towards one place. The two walked towards the airflow, and soon, they came out of the water. Outside the water, there was a cave. It was pitch black. If the two had not stepped into the Xianshan, they would not be able to see clearly. Boss, it's pitch black here, and I can't see anything. Zhubing said. The voice echoed in the cave. As his voice echoed, suddenly, a light appeared not far away, and a night pearl appeared in Chen's hand, illuminating the cave like daylight. Inside the cave, there was nothing, only a stone platform, on which there was a brocade box, and next to the stone platform there was a skeleton, with tattered clothes on it, and it looked like it had died here for a long time. Boss, this clothing seems to be a cassock. Could it be that this skeleton was a monk in his lifetime? Zhubing said, looking at the remaining clothes on the skeleton. Monk? Chen was a little confused. This was the back mountain of Shanman. How could a monk appear here? His eyes could not help but look at the brocade box. Raising his hand and clapping, the brocade box opened directly, revealing a shiny bead inside. The bead was irregular, but contained extremely strong energy. Serera, boss, that's a Serera. Seeing the bead, Zhubing beside Chen said excitedly. Serera. Chen's eyes condensed. Only Buddhist monks would leave behind Sereras, which contained the lifelong power of Buddhist masters. It is said that, if an ordinary person absorbs a Serera, he can instantly become a master. Why is there a Serera here? Chen frowned slightly. Among the 9 northern counties, the 3 most powerful forces are the Qinglang Temple of the Buddhist Tantric sect. Once a monk passes away, the Qinglang Temple will definitely check and bring the Serera back. It seems a bit strange to appear here. His eyes couldn't help but look at the bottom of the brocade box, where there was a yellowed book. The Great Tripitaka of Life and Death. 5 words were displayed on the yellowed book. When Chen saw this name, his expression changed immediately. Boss, quickly collect the relic. The fat man said beside Chen. He didn't have any idea about the relic. One must have a specific understanding of oneself. Not everything can be his. The fat man has a good understanding of this. Chen raised his hand to suck the relic into his hand and put it into his sleeve. Of course, in an invisible place, Chen put the relic into the storage ring. The host collects the Buddhist relic and is rewarded with 1 blue lottery card and 5 white lottery cards. At this time, the prompt sound appeared. I didn't expect to get so much this time. Chen's face showed joy. Then he looked at the yellowed scripture in the brocade box and stepped forward to take it out. At this time, the fat man stepped forward and said, "Boss, the Buddhist relic cannot be corroded by toxins, but we should be careful with this book." While speaking, he took out a leather glove with a silver luster, put it on the palm of his hand, and took it towards the book in the brocade box. When he touched the book, a layer of black hair appeared on his silver glowing glove. "It is indeed poison," the fat man said viciously, and put the book down. "What should we do now, boss?" The fat man looked at Chen and said, "I didn't expect this fat man to be so cautious, otherwise, I might have been tricked by him." Chen thought to himself, "Give me the gloves, I'll see what's inside this book." Although the name can tell a little, no one knows what's inside without reading the contents. The fat man took off his gloves and gave them to Chen. Chen grabbed the book and flipped through it directly. The host has come into contact with one of the 5 unique skills of the Tibetan Buddhism, Qinglang Temple, the great Tripitaka of life and death, and will be rewarded with 5 blow lottery cards. The 5 unique skills of the Tibetan Buddhism, Qinglang Temple. Chen was surprised and put the book on the brocade box. His palm touched the brocade box and found that it was not poisonous. He directly covered the brocade box and prepared to take the book away with the brocade box. When the time comes, he will slowly go back to remember the contents of the book and then destroy it. Looking at the fat man beside him, his face showed joy. The fat man's luck is really good. Chasing a small monk can actually find this place. Let him have a great harvest. Let's go and see the condition of this skeleton, Chen said. At this time, the fat man came to the corpse and picked up the broken cloth to investigate. "Boss, this monk may be a senior monk of Qinglang Temple," the fat man said. "How do you judge that this skeleton is a senior monk of Qinglang Temple?" Chen couldn't help asking. "It's mainly from this broken cloth. This cloth should be woven from the special silk in the Sangcheng Silk Valley. The annual output of special silk is limited and belongs to the Sang family of Sangcheng. The Sang family makes it into monk robes and supplies it to the senior monks of Qinglang Temple. But how could someone from Qinglang Temple die in the back mountain of Arshan Gate?" the fat man said puzzledly. Chen came to the side of the skeleton and looked at the condition of the skeleton. He found that all the bones on the back were broken. In front of the skeleton, there was a sword mark. The bone was pierced, but it was not broken. He should have been killed by a sneak attack from behind. Chen said. "Boss, you can see that?" Fatty asked. "Do I need to see that?" His front wound was caused by a sword piercing his bones, but the long sword only left a sword mark on the bones, which shows how well this monk has cultivated his flesh and bones. And the palm that appeared behind him shattered his bones. If the person behind him was strong, this monk should have been mainly on guard against the person behind him, and would never be hit like this, so it can only be a sneak attack from the other party, Chen analyzed. At this time, the fat man knocked the skeleton down to see if there was anything. At this time, a Buddhist bead rolled out from the corpse. The fat man picked up the Buddhist bead and saw a word of wisdom engraved on it, and his face was immediately shocked. "Boss, I know who this monk is. He should be the Dahu Dharma king who disappeared from Qinglang Temple 15 years ago." Chen heard this, and his eyes condensed slightly. He didn't expect that this monk would be the Dahu Dharma king. "Let's go, we shouldn't stay here for long," Chen said immediately. Qinglang Temple is not only one of the 3 major forces in the 9 northern provinces, but also one of the 4 major ancestral forces of the Buddhist Tantric sect. It is definitely not ordinary for a Dharma king to die in the deep valley behind the Shan Gate. The Dharma king has a high status in the Tantric sect, and this Dharma king was killed by a sneak attack. Things are unusual. Although I want to understand, I need to leave now. The fat man also felt that things were not simple, so he handed the beads to Chen and then left quickly with Chen. In the valley, what happened today must not be told to others, otherwise we will be in danger, Chen said to the fat man Zhu Bing. "Boss, don't worry, I will never tell," the fat man said immediately. "This is a reward for you. I have gained a lot today." Chen threw a few gold bars directly to the fat man. The fat man smiled and thanked Chen. Chapter 148 The Fierce Shan Sect Master. The young master was also poisoned to death. "Do you think our Shan sect has offended someone? We must have offended someone. Otherwise, how could the elder and the young master be poisoned? But this should not harm us, so we don't have to worry. You are overthinking. How could it not harm us? Elder, the young master is dead or alive. Master, and the Shanluo Peak master is injured and in seclusion. Our Shan sect's combat power is damaged. Tink says, hey, who has a grudge against us? Do you think they will attack us? Su Chen listened to the discussions of these disciples. When he returned to his cave, the elder and the young master were dead or alive. These disciples began to panic. They also began to discuss. Our master should not be in seclusion anymore. Su Chen thought to himself. The master said that his mind was damaged and he was in seclusion, but it could also be an excuse to ease the matter of injuring the Shanluo Peak master. No one contacted Su Chen along the way. Su Chen returned to the cave. He was in deep thought. From the situation of the cold pond in the back mountain, it can be known that there are definitely people who know about the cold pond. It is also possible that someone is practicing the great collection of life and death. As for the tantric relics, why were they not absorbed? That is because, once the tantric relics are absorbed, Qinglang Temple will definitely have a sense of it. Then it will be discovered. This is why Su Chen did not absorb the relics immediately after obtaining them. Who killed that Qinglang Temple monk? Su Chen thought to himself. For some reason, the figure of the headmaster of Shanmen flashed through Su Chen's mind at this time. The strongest person in Shanmen must be Qian Qianshan, the headmaster of Shanmen. If there is anyone who has the ability to sneak attack the Dharma King Dahu, it is probably only the headmaster of Shanmen. Trample. Trample. At this time, Keiwei's figure appeared outside the cave and called out to Su Chen outside. Su Chen got up and left the cave. Sister Keiwei, is there anything? The people of Zitan Palace are coming to Lingnan County. At that time, you will contact the other party on behalf of the young lady. Keiwei looked at Su Chen and said. When she talked about contacting the other party on behalf of the young lady, her tone was a little heavier. Is this to let me get in touch with Muran Chen? Su Chen thought. Su Chen was not surprised by the appearance of the Red Sand Palace. The situation in Lingnan County has changed now. It is normal for the Red Sand Palace to appear in Lingnan County. The changes in Lingnan County this time are aimed at the Qinglang Temple. The Red Sand Palace wants to use this to enter Lingnan County. Keiwei continued. Qinglang Temple. Su Chen's face showed surprise. Sister Keiwei, you mean that the change in the situation in Lingnan County this time is directly aimed at the Tantric Qinglang Temple? Qinglang Temple is the strongest of the three major forces in the 9 northern counties. Su Chen said solemnly. This is not something we need to consider, but I can tell you that there will be many forces against Qinglang Temple this time. Keiwei informed Su Chen of some news. Since the lady chose Su Chen, he also needs to get in touch with some things. I'm curious about the identity of senior sister Murun. Su Chen looked at her and said. At this time, it is completely unnecessary to hide the identity. It's okay to tell you. The young lady is the 19th princess of our great Zhao dynasty, and she has the same mother as the current 4th prince. Keiwei told Su Chen about Miran King Sheng's identity. When Su Chen asked about it, she also looked at Su Chen, wanting to see how Su Chen would react to the news. But Su Chen's face only showed a slight surprise. But he was not too surprised. Now that something has happened to Shanmen, it's your chance. The young lady will recommend you to temporarily take charge of Shanluo Peak. You have been practicing well recently, and you need to continue to break through. This can concentrate your mind. The concentration pill, you can take it to practice. Keiwei handed Su Chen a bottle of pills, and then said goodbye to Su Chen and left. Su Chen put the pills in his arms, and returned to his cave. This time he got a lot of lottery cards. There was also a piece of Zuanine stone. With the coldness of the Zuanine stone, his Xianshan fist could be practiced to the great perfection realm in a short time. Of course, there were also lottery cards. He wanted to see what he could draw. 6 blue lottery cards, 5 white lottery cards. This wave should be able to draw something good. First, draw the 5 white lottery cards, and see how lucky you are. Get 5 bottles of blood coagulation pills, 20/bottle. Get 1 card for primary enhancement of the flesh arm. Get 1 card for basic sword tactics infusion. Get 1 year of innate energy. Get a pair of special rubber gloves. Seeing the things he got, especially the last one, Chen was a little confused. Could it be, because he used the fat man's gloves, when he went down to the cold pond this time, that he got this? But the other things are not ordinary. The primary enhancement card for the flesh arm and the basic sword tactics infusion are very useful to Chen. Put the primary enhancement card on the right arm. Suddenly, the right arm seemed to swell, and violent blood and energy flowed in his arm. He clenched his palm suddenly, and a sound of air explosion sounded in his palm. But it's still a little worse than the left arm. Chen felt the strength of his right arm and thought to himself. Then he picked up the basic sword tactics infusion card. Use it directly. Suddenly in his mind, figures appeared one after another, instilling the way and method of using the sword. Chen had some understanding of the sword method before. Now, under the guidance of this basic sword method, Chen has a better understanding of the sword. At this time, Shanman, a forbidden area, the figure of Muleo who followed Qian Mu appeared in front of a cave in the forbidden area. His expression was solemn. He knocked on the stone door of the cave, and after a while, the stone door was opened. Muleo walked into the cave. In the cave, there was a man in his 50s wearing a white robe. Looking at Muleo who came in, his expression moved slightly. What happened outside? Master, please accept my condolences. I failed to protect the young master. Muleo knelt directly on the ground. From Muleo's words, it can be known that the man in white robe is Chen, the master of Shanman. Hearing this, the man in white robe changed his face. What did you say? You said Mua. Tell me what happened. Muleo immediately told Chen what happened in the past few days. You asked the people from the Qinglang Society to kill the Great Elder. How come you didn't tell me about such a big thing? The head of the Shan sect was angry. Do you think you can take charge of the Shan sect by killing the Great Elder? You think too simply. It seems that my son should have been killed by Luoyui. Since so many people have died, there is no need to keep Luoyui. The head of the Shan sect said in a deep voice. A trace of cold murderous intent flashed in his eyes. Headmaster, I will kill Luoyui now. The old man said. No, I will do it myself. But if you can't protect my son well, then there is no need to live. The head of the Shan sect suddenly became gloomy and grabbed the head of the old man. The attacked old man wanted to resist, but a force appeared between the eyebrows of the head of the Shan sect. This force directly poured into the head of the old man. The old man suddenly felt a sharp pain in his head, and his head fell down without even a scream. Chapter 149 Helion's Ioyao, one of the 4 demons in Changhan Palace, Kinemo. This life and death sutra is indeed extraordinary. After so many years of practice, I have finally reached the realm of mind movement. The Shan sect's headmaster looked at Muleo's body lying on the ground and said in a deep voice, I was just thinking of testing it, but I didn't expect it to make me lose my son. Luoyui, I will kill you tonight. As the Shan sect's headmaster spoke, he sucked with his palm. Muleo's body was caught in his hand. Then a suction force burst out from his palm. Under this suction force, the blood and ki in Muleo's body were quickly absorbed and poured into the body of the Shan sect's headmaster. The Shan sect's headmaster actually practiced the technique of sucking the blood and ki of warriors. It seems that we need to go to Hanton first to deal with the aftermath there. I originally thought that Mua would accidentally obtain the relic and improve his strength, but I didn't expect this to happen. Chen thought to himself. Qian Mu knew what happened in the cave. It was just that after the people of the Qinglang Society killed the elder, he thought about taking charge of Shan sect first and then going to Hanton. But such a delay in time caused him to be poisoned. If he had swallowed the relic, I'm afraid the poison might not have killed him. Perhaps this is fate. County Government. Lingnan County North Pacification Division. It is now relatively depressed, and 2 figures appeared at the door of the Pacification Division. The figure in front is a young man with a fair face, who looks like a gentleman, and behind him is a sturdy man. This fair-skinned young man is the real Helion Chunshu. When the guard at the door saw the newcomer, he immediately stepped forward to drive him away. This is the new commander of the Lingnan County North Pacification Division, and this is the inauguration document. A document appeared in the hand of the big man behind Heli and Chunshu Kumin. The intercepting guard did not dare to neglect, and quickly took the two people into the Pacification Division. Another person quickly reported to the remaining two deputy commanders in the Pacification Division. In the North Pacification Division, only one of Yanyu's 3 deputies died, and there were still 2 left. When they heard this, they were shocked, and quickly gathered in the living room. Heli and Chunshu and Yanyu had just died. The Northern Pacification Division headquarters sent someone over, but they were not notified in advance. The person came too fast. The 2 quickly came to the living room. In the hall, a man with a strange and fair appearance was sitting on the commander's chair. A sturdy man stood next to the strange man. I'm Helian Zioao, and I will succeed the position of the Northern Pacification Division of Lingnan County today. This is my document. Helian Chunshu, who called himself Helian Zioao, raised his hand, and the document flew towards one of the 2 people like a piece of iron. The deputy commander in front, Emo Huayan, raised his hand to catch the iron sheet. When he caught it, his wrist was attacked by a stream of energy, a blood vessel burst, and a trace of blood flowed out. Emo Huayan didn't care about the blood on his wrist, and opened the document to take a look. His face froze instantly, and he immediately saluted Helian Zioao and said, "Greetings, Commander." When they heard Helian Zioao report his name, they actually believed the identity of the person who came. It was mainly the surname Helian. Emo Huayan, Li Yang, I want you to help me contact the Qinglang Society within 1 day. I want to meet with their Zengaiu Hall Master. Helian Zioao said. Although Helian Chunshu was just his stand-in, this stand-in also represented him, Helian Chunshu. So revenge must be taken when it's time. He wanted to know who wanted to kill Helian Chunshu. How could a killer organization like the Qinglang Society kill Helian Chunshu for no reason? Someone must have paid to kill him. He met the Qinglang Society, Zengaiu Hall, because he wanted to know from the other side who wanted to kill him. Hearing what Helian Zioao said, Emo Huayan and Li Yang looked average. The Qinglang Society, Zengaiu Hall Master has never shown his face. It's so difficult to meet him. Looking at the 2 people here, Helian Chunshu said, "Is this matter difficult? Subordinates, do this matter immediately." The 2 of them didn't say much and quickly retreated. Just contact the Qinglang Society. If they don't attack the Qinglang Society, they are not in danger, and can do it. As for whether the mysterious leader of the first month will show up, it is not something they can control. Go to the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower with a visiting card, and say that I want to see Bei Chalfi. Helian Chunshu said to the sturdy man beside him. But, your safety. You don't need to worry about my safety. Even if Qing Wuming and A Fei come and can't deal with them, it's not a problem to leave. What's more, I'm Helian Zioao now. Without anyone paying, they will not attack me. Helian Chunshu said. Yes. The sturdy man left quickly. Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower. Nalan Rangan appeared in front of Bei Chalfi. Master, there are 3 things. The first is that a new leader has come to the Northern Pacification Division, named Helian Zioao, who should be from the Helian family. The second is that someone from the Qinglang Temple has entered the Lingaiu Sword Sect. Third, a new master of a branch hall has come to the Changhan Palace. I have never found any information about Helian Zioao. It should be someone specially arranged by the Helian family. The one who came to Changhan Palace is one of the 4 Changhan demons, the Qin demon, Mei Zuanxiang. This person is the daughter of Changhan Palace Master Ni Beifeng. Nalan Rangan said. They are quite powerful. Do you know the purpose of these people coming here? Bei Chalfi looked at Nalan Rangan and said. I haven't reached a conclusion yet. You don't need the conclusion. I have a clue. The purpose this time is to deal with the Qinglang Temple of the Tantric sect. With this clue, I think you should be able to find out a lot of things. Bei Chalfi has already received a notice from Su Chen, so he knows what is happening in Lingnan County now. Deal with Qinglang Temple. Hearing this, Nalan Rangan's eyes lit up. There are many things that I can think clearly about. It is rumored that the eldest prince's realm has been improved, and he wants to become the crown prince. But now it is a situation where 9 princes are regulating the country. Once the eldest prince becomes the crown prince, the situation of 9 princes regulating the country will disappear. The other princes are unwilling. The eldest prince becomes the crown prince, and the Buddhist national master has always stood on the side of the eldest prince. They are thinking of weakening the strength of the Buddhist tantric sect, so that they can weaken the eldest prince's power, and prevent him from becoming the crown prince. Nalan Rangan said. Now it is outsiders who show up, and the core figures have not shown up yet. Your task is to find this core figure. The turmoil in Lingnan County is also an opportunity for our Jinfeng Xiao Tower. Only one of the 9 northern provinces has my Jinfeng Xiao Tower. I want you to make the name of Jinfeng Xiao Tower appear in the other 8 northern counties within a month. Use the people who were left in the town's hall in each county before. Bei Chaofei said. The Jinfeng Xiao Tower in Qingcheng is now trying to expand outside the Great Wall, while he wants to expand to the other 8 counties in the north. Chapter 150. Those who plot against him will be killed, and those who disobey will be killed. Bei Chaofei was preparing to use all the power of Tian's Hall. Opposite him, Nalan Rangan's expression slightly changed when she heard Bei Chaofei's words. I'll do it right away, Nalan Rangan said. During its peak period, Tian's Hall also established many intelligence stations in the 9 northern counties. However, some of them have been abandoned over the years. If they are activated, those who were previously silent will have an additional means of living. Nalan Rangan bowed and left the room. When she first saw Bei Chaofei, her first impression was that he was young, but his martial arts skills were extraordinary. Usually, such people should be people who practice wholeheartedly. It is estimated that he can't keep up with the management of the first floor. But she was wrong. Bei Chaofei did a better job than her in the position of commander. The people of Tian's Hall were gradually integrated into the Jinfeng Xiao building. There is a kind of method that moistens things silently. Nalan Rangan closed the door and turned to go downstairs. At this time, a servant was coming upstairs. Deputy Building Owner, the new leader of the North Pacification Division of Lingnan County, Helian Zioao, wants to see the building owner. This is a visiting card they sent. The visitor said. Helian Zioao, want to see the building owner? Nalan Rangan's eyes were full of doubt. Give the visiting card to the building owner. Nalan Rangan and the other party staggered and left. Soon, there was another visiting card on the table in front of Bei Chaofei. Helian Zioao, want to see me? It's interesting. Tell Commander Helian to come to my Jinfeng Xiao building tonight for a chat. Bei Chaofei also wanted to see the purpose of Helian Zioao coming to him. Shan Gate. Su Chen was in Xiangsu Villa. Xianqi Peak Master Luoyui was killed and all his blood was swallowed up. Murong Qingchen said. All his blood was swallowed up. Su Chen was stunned when he heard this. He was in the cave and had just absorbed the reward brought by the white lottery card. He was called here by Kaiwei and heard the news. Has the headmaster not shown up yet? With so many big things happening one after another, the headmaster of the Shan sect who was in seclusion should show up soon. The headmaster should show up soon. I asked you to come here today. I have already discussed with the master who was in seclusion. You will be in charge of Xianluo Peak. Murong Qingchen suddenly said. This. Su Chen frowned slightly. Taking over the position of the headmaster of Xianluo Peak at this time. And it's so simple. Su Chen was inexplicably worried. Are you afraid that you can't do it? As if seeing Su Chen's worry, Murong Qingchen spoke. Senior sister, the main thing is that I'm too inexperienced. I'm afraid no one will obey me. Su Chen said. You know my identity, and they all know it. No one will refute who I designate, and they can't refute it either. If they don't obey you, just replace them. Murong Qingchen exuded a sense of dominance when he spoke. This domineering aura did not come from strength, but from himself. This is to help me get to the top. Su Chen was now somewhat unsure of Murong Qingchen's thoughts. Why did I push you to become the peak master of Xianluo Peak so early? That's because master may not be able to hold on for much longer. Murong Qingchen said. Master is only seriously injured and not in danger. How could it be? Su Chen asked puzzledly after hearing this information. Master's body is only seriously injured and can recover, but his soul has been attacked somehow and is actually disintegrating. This is what Master discovered after his retreat. Murong Qingchen said solemnly. Soul. Su Chen's face changed. In his heart, he thought of the life and death Tripitaka he had obtained in the cold pond in the back mountain. Buddhist techniques all carry a trace of spiritual attacks. What's more, this life and death Tripitaka is a unique Buddhist secret technique. It seems that my deduction is true. The old monk should have been killed by the head of the Shan sect by surprise. After receiving this news, Su Chen was already convinced that there was something wrong with the head of the Shan sect. Seeing Su Chen in deep thought, Mirren Chen did not disturb him, but just waited for Su Chen to come back to his senses. Feeling the atmosphere stagnant, Su Chen came back to his senses and looked at Mirren Chen and said, "Senior sister, you recommended me to become the master of Cheyenne Luo Peak. I wonder what you want from me. There is no love without reason, and there is no hatred without reason. Mirren Chen must have something to ask for by helping him like this. Now Lingnan County may be in chaos. It is an opportunity to rise. If you become the master of Cheyenne Luo Peak, you can get more resources. With resources, I believe your strength will soon break through to the soul refining realm. When you reach the soul refining realm, you can become my spokesperson in Lingnan County. The representative behind me is the 4th prince of the great Zhao dynasty. My 4th brother wants to compete for the position of the crown prince and needs resources. Your role is to help us obtain resources." Mirren Chen said. "I still lack resources for my own forces?" Su Chen thought to himself. He doesn't care about the 4th prince or the competition for the crown prince. These have nothing to do with him. He has his own power, and he will definitely supply it to the forces behind him first, and then supply the rest to others. "Sister, even if I become the master of Cheyenne Luo Peak, I'm only the master of one peak. It is impossible for me to obtain a large number of resources as I want." Su Chen shook his head. "Qian Chen will die when the forces of Lingnan County besiege Lingayu Sword Sect. If you become the master of Cheyenne Luo Peak, you will have the opportunity to compete for the position of the headmaster," Mirren Chen said. Hearing this, Su Chen's eyes condensed slightly. He didn't expect Mirren Chen to have a murderous intention towards the headmaster of Shanman. But Mirren Chen, you underestimated the headmaster of Shanman. This person is definitely not simple. Sister, this plan is a bit big, but even if I become the headmaster of Shanman, I'm afraid I can't manage Shanman. Someone will assist you at that time. It's not that step yet. You will go to Cheyenne Luo Peak with me later, and some elders will nominate you to become the new peak master," Mirren Chen said. "This road has been paved for me. Do you want me to eat gigolo?" Su Chen looked at Mirren Chen walking in front of him, and a smile appeared in his eyes. This Mirren Chen is indeed beautiful, and she has a unique temperament. I don't know if you are plotting against me. If you are, I don't mind having your head taken off." Su Chen thought to himself. The current Su Chen is not the Su Chen who just came to this world. At that time, there was only one Bei Shian Yu. Now he is strong and powerful. Whoever plots against him, he will kill him. Whoever disobeys him, he will kill him. And this time, as the master of Cheyenne Luo Peak, Su Chen is also ready to show his skills. Soon, the two of them came to the main hall of Cheyenne Luo Peak. At this time, the atmosphere in the main hall was quite tense. The Great Elder, the Young Master, and the Master of Cheyenne Peak were all killed. Everyone was in danger. Seeing Mirren Chen and Su Chen coming in, these elders saluted one after another. Su Chen stood behind Mirren Chen and looked at the Cheyenne Luo Peak elders in front of him. There were 15 of them. This was considered the highest combat power in Cheyenne Luo Peak. However, there were very few who entered the soul refining realm. There were only 3 people, one in the middle stage of soul refining, and the other 2 were in the early stage of soul refining. Their strength is too average. Except for the one in the middle stage of soul refining, these people will fight to the death. Anyone else who fights with Su Chen will be killed. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.